a 2-game lead atop the NFC Central. The Vikings at 2-6 need a win to get back into the chase. Hello, everybody. I'm Tim Ryan with Johnny Morris here at Soldier Field, and these 2-6 Vikings, Johnny, a hard luck team, losing 3 games in the final minute so far this season. And last week they lose their quarterback, Tommy Kramer.
That's right. Archie Manning is going to start this week. As you know, he came on in the second half last week and did not do very well. The Vikings had only 6 yards of total offense, but he's had a week under his belt to practice, and he says he's going to do a lot better this week. However, as he told us yesterday, of all the teams I'd like to be starting against in my first shot, it wouldn't be the Chicago Bears. They're #1 in defense.
That's right. Well, the quarterback situation for the Bears has improved, on the other hand. Last week, for the first time since the first game of the year, Jim McMahon played at 100%, had a great day against Tampa.
They certainly did. They amassed a lot of yards on offense, 474 yards, and they showed they could do it without a stress on Walter Payton because of the fact that McMahon completed 12 of 18 passes, had 3 touchdowns. And real tip-off on Jim McMahon is that he has not thrown an interception since the first game of the year, 98 straight attempts without throwing an interception. So Jim McMahon is 100% healthy, and the Bear offense is much more diversified. So we're almost ready for the kickoff. Tim?
The Bears will kick it off, and we have just a perfect day for football, provided it doesn't rain. There was a forecast for some rain, but so far looks good. 50 degrees under gray October skies. Perfect football weather in Chicago. Wind, of course, can be a factor here at Soldier Field. So far, it doesn't appear to be. There you see the standings in the Central Division. The Bears 2 up at 5-3, ahead of Tampa Bay and Detroit. Minnesota clearly needs a win today if they have any chance at all, and the Vikings would still need help from other teams. Darren Nelson will return the kickoff from Dave Finzer, and it's taken in the end zone by Alfred Anderson, 2 yards deep. Number 46, the rookie, had some running room over the 25 to the 27-yard line where Baschnagel pulled him down, and Wilbur Marshall tripping him up. And the Vikings will start with Archie Manning at quarterback, Alfred Anderson, the outstanding rookie, Ted Brown, the veteran, and then Mike Jones and Sammy White will be the starters at wide receiver. Steve Jordan, the tight end, Irwin, Tausch, Sams, Rouse, and Riley across the front. And we'll tell you more about some of the changes in position in the offensive line. Sams starting for the injured Jim Huff, who just got back last week after a calf injury, unable to go today because of a sore knee. Manning on first down, out to Ted Brown, and Brown is close to first down yardage. They'll spot it at the 37-yard line. Al Harris forcing him out of bounds, and we'll see where the marker is, and it's going to be short by about a yard. Defensively, the #1 team in the entire National Football League. Hartenstein, McMichael, Hampton, and Richard Dent across the front. Otis Wilson playing with a sore groin. Singletary and Harris are the linebackers. And the secondary, Richardson with a cast on his broken left wrist. Frazier, Bell, and Fensick. 2nd and a yard to go at the 37-yard line of Minnesota. To our right in white. Ted Brown. Brown has the first down. Met just over the line of scrimmage by Richard Dent, number 95. And the Vikings, with Manning throwing on first down, a little swing pass on 2 plays, have themselves a first down at their own 39. Well, you've got the Vikings offense ranked 12th in rushing, 21st in passing, and only 17th overall against the #1 team in the NFL against the rush, and #1 overall, 5th against the pass. So that would appear to be an overmatch in that department. But the Vikings, of course, have other ideas. Manning for Brown, incomplete. Brown tried to one-hand it. Tight coverage on him by Otis Wilson. Had he caught the ball, he would have been dropped right at the line of scrimmage. 35-year-old Archie Manning in his 14th season out of Mississippi. Came over from Houston in a trade and getting his chance because of the injury to Tommy Kramer. Last week, a shoulder injury in the game against Detroit. There is Kramer wearing the hat and jacket in the middle of your screen. Last week was 7 for 15 before going out with the injury. And it's somewhat an indefinite situation as to his return. It's a sprained shoulder, an old separation injury, and in the same shoulder where he had a separation previously. And they say a couple of weeks, it could be longer. Brown got only a yard, and we are now 3rd and 9 as the 2 running plays, Johnny, for the Vikings from this first down situation. The incomplete pass and the run by Brown have been stopped cold.
At that time, the Bears blitzed up the middle with the safety, Todd Bell. And a lot of folks figured that the Bears will blitz a lot because Manning has not played all that much, and the Bears like to blitz sometimes, especially young, inexperienced quarterbacks. Now, Manning's not inexperienced, but he's got to be a little bit rusty.
Sean Gale, the rookie number 23, has come in defensively for the Bears on 3rd and 9. Manning fields a low snap, and now is going to run it upfield. And now laterals it off to Ted Brown, and Brown got the first down yardage on the hop. Well, there's a little inventive work by Archie Manning. Manning, a pretty good scrambler, but of course at 35, he doesn't have the quicks anymore. And an alert play by Ted Brown, fielding the low lateral.
Well, he does have the quick mind, but you'd have to say that the Vikings were mighty lucky that that ball took a bounce right up to Ted Brown, almost in stride. As Manning takes off, he sees number 23 over there. He says, hey, you take it. The ball bounced right up to Brown. It was a lateral, and it's a good play for the Vikings, a first down.
Todd Bell drove him out of bounds, and the Vikings are now in Bears territory at the 43-yard line of Chicago. Archie Manning, number 4, the quarterback, one of the nice guys in the NFL. Darren Nelson is in for the first time at running back in a wide pro set. They'll swing it to Nelson. He has the ball. Nelson forced out of bounds at the 37 by Al Harris, number 90. Mike Hartenstein, the defensive end, ranging all the way to the sideline to get in on it as well.
That's 3 straight times on first down that the Vikings have gone to the air, so you can see what their game plan is when they feel that the Bears are in a rather normal type of a defense. They want to throw the ball. They don't want to have to throw it so much when the Bears are in their kind of screwy defense. As you look at Les Steckel, the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, off to a tough start, 2-6, but looking at it realistically, they could be 4-4. There are a couple of games that they could have won with some breaks.
2nd and a long 4. Darren Nelson is forced wide and dropped for a loss. Mike Singletary. Buddy Ryan, his defensive coach, says best linebacker in football. Certainly among the inside people, because those outside guys like Lawrence Taylor and Hugh Green get a lot more of attention because of the number of sacks they get, pressuring the quarterback and so on. But Singletary, among the inside guys, not too many people would argue with Buddy Ryan, I don't think, even though his is a biased view.
We have to give some credit for Todd Bell. He came across the line of scrimmage too and knocked down the interference to help Singletary out. Sean
Gale has come in as the nickel back. The loss was back to the original line of scrimmage, so it's 3rd and 10 Vikings. Low snap. Manning had no chance, and he covers it at the 40, and then takes a little extra shot from Hartenstein in case he was thinking about getting up. And that was Ron Sams, who is the center in there for the injured Jim Huff, the 2nd-year man from Pittsburgh, but a rookie at this position. That's right. He is coming in there. That was one of the worst snaps you'll ever see, and Manning did a good job of just getting on the ball. He didn't want to run with the ball. He just wanted to cover so that the Vikings could punt out of problems. So Greg Coleman will punt it, standing from his 25-yard line. Jeff Fisher for the Bears, another low snap. And that is Fisher on the run on a short punt, gets to the 40-yard line of the Bears. And that time the low snap came from Grant Fiesel, acquired just recently from the Indianapolis Colts. He did no better than Sams on his first try. We'll be right back.
Jerry, Pam's back.
And she's ready to take on the world again, thanks to Liberty Mutual. After her back was seriously injured on the job, a Liberty Mutual rehabilitation nurse worked with Pam's doctor to coordinate her medical care. That also controlled insurance costs, but Pam is the best result. The Liberty Mutual Rehabilitation Nurse Program. One way we're going to be there for you.
Armstrong, send this barbell to Pittsburgh by Federal Express.
Yes, Mr. Atlas. Hi, girls. Does Federal carry something this heavy, Bull?
Gee, I don't know. Hey, Brutus, check the rate book. I think it's under the safe.
Sure thing, Bull.
A lot of people think Federal Express carries only itty-bitty packages. They carry the big stuff, too, all the way up to 150 pounds. Federal Express. Why fool around with anyone else?
Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris live from sold-out Soldier Field, where the Chicago Bears, with a 2-game lead in the NFC Central, take on the Minnesota Vikings. And a short punt by Coleman after a low snap by Grant Fiesel has given the Bears first down at their own 38. In motion, Dennis McKinnon, number 85. Peyton. Peyton tripped up by Tommy Hannon. Actually ran over Hannon's outstretched leg and got about 3 yards as he fell. The Bears offensively, Suey with Peyton in the backfield. Willie Galt and Dennis McKinnon are the wide receivers. Across the front, Emery Moorhead, the starter at tight end. Covert, Fada for the injured Mark Bortz at left guard. Hilgenberg, Becker, and Van Horn. Bortz, bothered by an ankle, could play.
And look at
Green
this.
Bay in front of Detroit, 7-0. Jesse Clark's 1-yard run, an early score for the Pack. There is McMahon. Last week had a fine afternoon against Tampa Bay as the Bears routed the Bucks. Peyton wants to throw. He's going deep for Galt, who's all alone. And Galt can't catch up to the ball. Walter Payton aired it out. Galt was coming from the far sideline and just simply could not catch up with Walter's pass. Now, Johnny, what's your speculation here?
Well, Walter just misfired. He saw Galt so open, and as you can see, the Bears have coming up with all kinds of trick plays the last couple of games. It looked like it went off the side of his hand as he threw the ball, and Galt, as fast as he is, still could not get to it, but he had plenty of room and way ahead of Rufus Bess, and he was so open. It was unbelievable. It would have been an easy touchdown, but Peyton, who's done so well on option passes, you can't expect him to do it all the time because you don't throw that many during practice. At least the running backs don't.
Peyton now 2 of 4 in the passing department on the season. Third down out of the shotgun, a flag on the play. McMahon with lots of time now runs it out of there, has the first down, gets comfortably out of bounds at the 47-yard line of Minnesota. However, a flag was down back at the line of scrimmage.
It looked like the Vikings may have been offside, so the Bears would probably refuse that penalty, as Jim McMahon shows once again why he's averaging 7.6 yards per rush. And he does exceptionally well on the scramble against a 3-4 type of a defense because you only have 3 men rushing with maybe 1 blitzing linebacker.
Offsides, number 79 defense, penalty is declined, first down.
And that's one of McMahon's strength. If you don't have a lot of people filling the gaps, putting the rush on Jim McMahon, he'll slither through because he has such good peripheral vision, and he'll run on you.
Tom Dooley, our referee today, number 6, signaling the offside call against Doug Martin, number 79 of the Vikings. Martin bothered with an ankle injury, expected to play primarily in the 4-down lineman situations for Minnesota today. First down, Bears in Viking territory. High formation, Suey the lead back. Peyton. Peyton picks up about 5 and gets to the 42-yard line before Dennis Johnson, the linebacker in the middle, made the stop. And defensively in their 3-4 alignment, Neil Elshire, Charlie Johnson, and Mark Mullaney. The linebackers, Matt Blair back in action last week. Dennis Johnson, Scott Studwell, and Fred McNeil. The secondary has John Swain, Rufus Bess for the injured Willie Teal, Hannon and Lee are the safeties. And of course, much talk this week out of Minnesota, the cutting of Randy Holloway. Number 1 pick in 1978, placed on waivers after the game last week against Detroit, picked up immediately by the St. Louis Cardinals. Second and a long 5. Matt Suey gets 3 and is stopped by Fred McNeil, the veteran number 54. It'll bring up 3rd and about 2 for the Bears inside the 40 of the Vikings. Now the Bears offensively are number 1 in the rushing department, thanks primarily to Walter Payton. The Vikings defensively against the rush are 23rd. Indeed, as you can see, they're well down among the 28 teams in the NFL in all 3 categories. However, last week against Detroit, they played very well, even though they lost that ball game again in the final minute.
Peyton needed only 53 yards to break 1,000 for this year, which would tie, wasn't it tie a record of 8 1,000-yard seasons?
Franco Harris's record of 8,000-yard years. Moorhead and Dunsmore, double tight ends. Peyton trying to get the first down yardage, and he was stopped. Now, depending on the placement of the ball, the Bears could get the first down, but it certainly appeared from here that the Vikings, with a fine display in the middle, put the stop on them. Charlie Johnson, 65, Mark Mullaney, 77, and Elshire, all 3 down linemen, stacking it up.
And Neil Elshire was in there to help out. It's going to be short by a yard, and it appears the Bears are going to go for it. They are on the 38-yard line.
4th down and just about a yard. Mike Ditka makes the decision. We're going for it.
And looking through all these trick plays, I don't think we'll see a trick play on this situation, but Mike Ditka has really put some imagination into this Bear offense.
Suey and Payton in the split back formation, and it's McMahon diving for what would appear to be the first down. Matt Blair, 59, tried to grab him from behind. Studwell, pinching in from the right inside linebacker, made the contact. And we'll see where they place it, but it would appear that McMahon got the first down on the sneak.
The Bears are going more and more to the quarterback sneak on the 4th and a foot, 4th and a yard situation, and it's been working for them the last 3 or 4 games.
Well, they've spotted the ball right at the 36-yard line, just the Bears' side of it, about a football length, and it will require a measurement, but it looks like they got the first down. And as they measure, we see Pittsburgh has jumped in front of Atlanta 7-0. Wayne Woodruff recovering a fumble and taking it 65 yards for the Steelers score. First down, Chicago, keeping this drive going. We are scoreless with exactly 8 minutes to play first quarter. Mike Ditka did not look happy on that pass from Payton to Galt, which is why I was speculating or asking you two as to whether or not they had the right pass route on with Galt coming from the far side.
Well, they had the right pass route. It just wasn't complete, but those things provide benefits
that
for
makes
a team later on.
Unhappy, doesn't it?
Yes.
An incompletion is enough. First and 10 Bears. Play action. McMahon to Dunsmore, the tight end, and he has a first down close to the 20-yard line.
Boy, what a block by Dennis McKinnon. He came back on Scott Studwell, number 55, and really crunched him, and that's a mismatch in size as Dunsmore caught the pass off the... Notice the play action to Payton freezes everybody for just a second. Here comes Dunsmore out. Now you'll watch 85 is McKinnon. Here comes Studwell, and McKinnon really crunches him as Dunsmore catches his second pass of the football season. The Bears are down to almost the 20-yard line.
Rufus Best, number 21, on the right corner, made the diving block to knock him out of bounds. The ball is just outside the 20. Again, the wide pro set, and now Suey shifts up to the wing right. McKinnon wide right, Galt left. Lots of time for McMahon. Starts to take off and dives for about 4 yards. Now, there was good coverage downfield, but it might have been a little premature for McMahon to run there because he had all kinds of time.
Well, he saw his man covered over the middle, and the one great thing about Jim McMahon is that he thinks very well. He does not have the strongest arm. There are quarterbacks who would have tried to fire that pass in there to Emory Moorhead, but there were people all around him. So sometimes there's an advantage of not having a strong arm. He realizes his limitations in throwing, and that time he took off and ran. So
got himself 4 yards.
Right.
There's the young man from BYU in his 3rd year, number 1 choice in 1982. First game since the first game of the year that he's really felt 100% in that hand. Suey takes a solid shot after a gain of maybe 3 yards. It was Charlie Johnson, number 65, the veteran from Colorado, who really got a lick on Suey. 3rd and 2 will be left.
A good block by Kurt Becker. Watch the guard come around and block Fred McNeil, number 54. Down goes McNeil, and then Suey gets outside, and Studwell is forced out, and then the pursuit from the inside.
Charlie Johnson, 32-year-old veteran. 3rd and 2 for the Bears, and they are threatening at the 12-yard line out of the I formation. Payton has the first down. Got a block from his fullback Suey. Had a nice hole opened up by Feda and Hilgenberg, and dives for the first down at the 8-yard line.
I'll bet his vision has got to be 40-40. Didn't look like there was a hole at all. Payton went low and dipped under and somehow got through for 4 or 5 yards, and that's one of his great assets. As you know, Walter Payton has done very well against the Minnesota Vikings over his career. He's rushed for over 1,700 yards against the Vikings, and remember, when was it, 77? He set a league record, 275 yards against these Vikings.
Payton needs 41 yards to reach the 1,000-yard mark. 1st and goal, Chicago. Payton dances his way, and the Vikings stack him up after a gain of 2 or 3.
Good play by Dennis Johnson that time. He came in, got across the line of scrimmage, jammed things up, made Payton adjust a little bit, and the rest of the Vikings mopped up on the tackle.
Studwell, 55, got the arms wrapped around him, and Rufus Best came in to help. It'll be a gain of 3, and the ball spotted just outside the 5-yard line.
You know, one thing about the Vikings, they may be 2-6, but if you watch the game films, they play hard. They have, you know, they're playing tough, hard football. They're losing, but the effort has still been there.
Well, and defensively last week against the Lions, so they had a fine afternoon. Rolling right is McMahon. Picks his way over the 5 and gets to about the 3-yard line. Galt had opened up in the middle, but after McMahon had committed himself to run. So it will be 3rd and goal.
Here it is on the ground level action, and one reason why the Bears lead the league in rushing is that McMahon is so good at it. He has a feel, cuts in, then cuts out just like a running back, follows his blocking, and then realizes he was in trouble there and went down. But the Bears averaged 209 yards rushing. The Vikings now in trouble. They have to come up with the big play here.
Elshire and Mullaney in on that tackle, and Mullaney is having himself quite a season for the Vikings. 3 tight ends are in for the Bears: Saldi, Moorhead, and Dunsmore. 3rd and goal from the 2. Suey behind Payton. Touchdown.
Okay, that time it was Payton in motion, and Suey is going to be the ball player. And you'll see Jimbo Covert 74, and you can see Becker, the pulling lineman, get through, and Suey with his power just bowled his way into the end zone. The Bears have drawn first blood. 6-0 as Matt Suey scores the touchdown. The man from Penn State, the second all-time leading rusher out of Penn State, and that is saying something.
Bob Thomas will attempt the point after. Bashnagel will hold.
Uh-oh.
Hit the goalpost. Hit the upright. Thomas hit the upright. And so the Bears, for the 2nd week in a row, see normally reliable Bob Thomas miss a point after. Last week against Tampa Bay, however, it was a 30-yarder he missed because of a penalty.
The hold and the spot looked fine. It just seemed to hook right off his foot and hit the upright. So it's a 6-0 lead. And Bob Thomas is wondering what went wrong.
2:58 remaining in the first quarter. The Bears have drawn first blood, 6-0. We are back live at Soldier Field. Finzer's kickoff taken by Darren Nelson a yard deep. To the 25-yard line, tripped up by Wilbur Marshall, who's become a terror on special teams. The #1 draft choice, backup linebacker. There's Finzer. 14 plays, 61 yards, 8:33 used up on the clock. That is the key. It has been all season long for the first place Bears. Later today, most of you will see the San Francisco 49ers and the LA Rams. A very key battle. The Rams have really got to win. First of their 2 games against the Niners in the battle for first place in the NFC West. That game will not be seen in the Chicago area since we're on live in the Chicago area now. Manning on first down to Nelson. And a gain of maybe 4 yards for Darren Nelson. Al Harris made the catch. Nelson's been complaining a little bit, Johnny, that he hasn't been getting as much running action. He says, I'm a running back. I don't mind catching the ball, but he's carried only 39 times for 178 yards. And he wants to carry the ball more often. You can see, however, he's a pretty handy receiver.
He's one of their long bomb threats, and they really should, I feel, use him more than they do, as Manning continues to throw on first down.
2nd down and 7. Joe Sensor has come into the game at tight end, number 81. Coming off a knee injury. Alfred Anderson behind the left guard Tausch. Picks up 4 yards to the 32-yard line. Gary Fensick, the safety, number 45, made the tackle on him.
Well, this Alfred Anderson is a pretty good football player. He's done very well out of Baylor. And so, of course, is Mike Singletary. So there'll be some collisions there between some ex-teammates.
3rd down and 3 to go
look
for
at
the
this.
Vikings from their 32. 2 wide receivers shift to the right. They give it to Anderson. Got a lot of blockers, but the Bears shut that down. He stopped short of the first down. Singletary was there, and Todd Bell was there. superb defensive reaction as they really loaded up the right side, blocking for the Vikings.
And they tried to load it up at the last second so the Bears couldn't adjust to it. We may see more of that because the best way to try and confuse the Chicago Bear defense is a lot of motion and last-minute adjustments. And the Vikings, that's the first time they've really done that so far in this game.
Coleman standing at his 20-yard line. There is Jeff Fisher at the Bear 25 awaiting the punt. Another low snap. Coleman digs it out well but did not kick it well. Takes a Viking bounce, however, and rolls out of bounds at the 29-yard line. Again, Grant Fiesel was the punt snapper, and Coleman has had to turn into a shortstop here in his first 2 punting attempts. The sun is shining on the Bears and the Vikings suddenly out of the gray October sky. Bears have first down. McMahon, the quarterback, at their own 29-yard line. Doug Martin is in at left defensive end for Elshire defensively for the Vikings. On first down, a swing pass to Payton. Payton gets a block from McKinnon upfield and is forced out of bounds at the 38-yard line by Rufus Best, number 21. Gain of 8.
Well, this is a play where McMahon looks down the field. He sends Payton out in the flat in the swing, and he's watching the deep drop of the Viking linebackers and then just dumps it out to Payton. You're going to see a good block by McKinnon again on Tommy Hannon right there. 85 on 45, and finally Best knocks Payton out of bounds, but it was a nice gain for the Chicago Bears, almost 9 yards.
Mike Ditka, the Bears coach, indicated that there would be more of that kind of offense today, getting the ball to Payton via the pass, not asking him to carry more than 20 times a game. Doesn't always work out that way, but so far they're sticking to that plan. Nice fake by McMahon. He's going deep to Galt. There's double coverage, and it's overthrown. Hannon and Swain had the coverage on Willie Galt. And McMahon overthrew it, which from the Chicago point of view turned out just as well because the Vikings had it well covered.
The Vikings did not bite on the play action by Jim McMahon, and he sent Willie Galt, and Swain and Hannon both waited for Willie Galt, and the Bear fans are booing, but there was no cause for booing because they were making a legitimate bona fide effort to go for the ball. Nice fake by McMahon. Now here's the end of the play coming up as Galt was covered, and you'll see everybody is diving for the ball. And if there's incidental contact when you go for the ball, you do not call a penalty.
By the way, for those people who wonder about McMahon's ability to throw the ball long, that ball was 57 yards in the air from the line of scrimmage. So approximately 64, 65 yards in the air. Now, mind you, he didn't put it in the hands of Willie Galt, but the coverage was there for the Vikings. A 4-man front for Minnesota now on 3rd and a yard for Chicago. In fact, it turns into about an 8-man front, and Hannon is there to put the wraps on Matt Suey. Underneath, Scott Studwell led the charge. 55 Studwell, 45 Hannon, and we'll see whether they stop them short of the first down yardage. Hannon is the leading tackler for the Vikings with, well, that's correct. That Studwell has 68 tackles. Hannon with 48.
And look at this. Green Bay has jumped to a 14-0 lead over Detroit. Lynn Dickey to Paul Kaufman for one of the touchdowns. Jesse Clark ran for the other. And the Lions could be in real trouble if they lose that football game. Philadelphia, look at this, 7-0 over St. Louis. The Eagles have been coming on the last few games.
Yes, they have. They've won 3 in a row, I believe. And the Cardinals, of course, have also been doing well. That's a big game in the NFC East. First down from the 40. Matt Suey did not get much. Spirited defensive play by the down lineman of the Vikings against Studwell there and Charlie Johnson. So the quarter has 1 second and ticks off to 0 as Chicago leads 6-0.
There's a boat still out on Lake Michigan. It's a little cold. I wouldn't take a swim, would you?
Well, 50 degrees on land here as we begin the second period, 2nd and 9. And the reverse to Moorhead, and he is buried. The Vikings did not buy that act at all. There'll be a loss of maybe 3 yards on the play. Mullaney and McNeil made the tackle for Minnesota. Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York for an update.
Tim, you mentioned the fact that the Green Bay Packers, they are ahead of Detroit. And here's their second touchdown, and it came on a pass from Dickey to Kaufman. It came out of that offensive set, and here it is right now. And Kaufman caught it, went in from 20 yards. It's 14-0, and of course, this helps the Bears. Let's go back to Tim.
Well, those Packers have struggled, but they've got offensive talent. You saw a little of it there. The injured player is Mark Mullaney of the Vikings. That would be a tough loss for them. He is having a fine season. We'll be right back at Soldier Field. There is Mark Mullaney happily on his feet and back at the sideline. He just had a whole lot of people land on top of him.
He was tackling Moorhead, puts his head down there, and then a whole bunch of beef, about 1,000 pounds or more, comes down on his neck and head, but he's okay. Boy, I'll tell you, Mullaney has had his problems this year. He got hit in the eye, and he's got some protective visor over his eye. He had a hamstring at training camp running the 40-yard dash, but he's still managed to play very well.
Rookie John Haynes upgraded from the injured list when they dropped Randy Holloway, getting his first action now, number 90, on 3rd and 11. Shotgun for the Bears, and the pass for Moorhead complete. And a first down inside Minnesota territory at the 48-yard line. McMahon threading the needle there. Tommy Hannon had the coverage. Jeff Coulter, one of the extra defensive backs, number 43, joined him there.
Out of the shotgun, you see not much penetration as Moorhead goes down and across the field there, and he's got the step lead. The pass was to the outside, and just enough for a first down as Jim McMahon continues to throw well. And, you know, when you go 8 games with only that 1 interception in the first game, you got to give McMahon some credit. There's Emory Moorhead, who regained his starting job last week.
Bears are now 5 of 6, turning it over on 3rd down. Greg Smith is in for Mullaney now as Payton on first down gets about 5, forced out at the 44-yard line of the Vikings. McNeil and Rufus Bess pointing him the way out, and we see Houston in front of Cincinnati 7-0. The winless Oilers were beaten by Cincinnati, and I think when they were that it was the Bengals' first win earlier in the year. Jets in front of New England 3-0 in the first quarter. And there's that one now. Looks like Detroit got a field goal, so they've reduced the margin 14-3. The Pack leads.
I predicted it was Eddie Murray who got the field goal.
Okay, very good, Johnny. Second and a long 5 for the Bears from the 44-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. One setback, quick pass to Galt. Galt shakes the tackler and then fell down. Willie Galt nearly embarrassed John Swain and then fell down at the 30-yard line. Studwell made sure he didn't get up.
He very nearly broke it that time. Just a quick hitch down about 6 yards. You try and drive him off, take the ball. He's inside, spins outside, and Swain missed the tackle. Had not Studwell come over to help out there, Galt, well, he was stumbling. I don't know if he would have regained his balance, but Studwell made sure he didn't. Willie Galt, obviously a deep threat, and you got to give him that yardage in front of you.
19 catches for Willie Galt coming into the game. First down, Bears, Matt Suhey. Suhey, nice piece of running, gets to the 22-yard line, tripped up by Greg Smith, number 91, the first-year man from Kansas. Smith getting time for Mullaney, who has not yet returned to the Vikings defense. Well, next Saturday, we'll be in Kingston, New York. Sugar Ray Leonard and Gil Clancy and I to bring you a doubleheader of World Championship action. Billy Costello defends his 140-pound crown against the ex-champ Leroy Haley. And exciting Jaime Garza from California against Juan Mesa of Mexico. And also on the program, special ice skating performances. You will be seeing the wonderful Tiffany Chin in a special live performance. All begins at 2:30 Central on CBS Sports Saturday. Torval and Dean also featured in their last amateur performance. Meanwhile, McMahon is sacked by Fred McNeil. McMahon looked like he might have started to roll out into a run, and McNeil didn't care whether it was run or pass. He put the wraps on him.
I think what happens is he spotted the all-out blitz by the Vikings and did not hand it off to Payton. I think Payton was even surprised he didn't get it, and McMahon tried to make something out of it, but Fred McNeil said no dice and makes the tackle. But he saw that all-out blitz. They were bringing everybody up the middle, and so McMahon tried to scramble a play out of it.
Third down, about 1.5 yards to go for a first down. Bright sunshine now as the Bears threaten again. Payton diving straight ahead has the first down for Chicago behind Fada and Covert. Charlie Johnson made initial contact. Scott Studwell and Greg Smith stopped him, but not before another Chicago first down. Who now, Walter Payton now needs 36 yards to reach the 1,000-yard mark for 1984. First down at the 18 of Minnesota.
I think Franco Harris holds that record right now. Walter Payton, who is every game breaks one record or another, including the big one he broke was Jimmy Brown's.
First down, wide open is McKinnon, touchdown.
You talk about having your options of receivers. Emory Moorhead and Dennis McKinnon were both wide open. If you look up to the right-hand side of your screen is McMahon just off the straight pass, and you'll see McKinnon catch the ball, and Moorhead was over to the right, and he was wide open. Easy pickings for Dennis McKinnon. Nobody covered him as Swain was over late.
Thomas will attempt the point after as we see Dennis McKinnon on the sideline. And for McKinnon, that is his third touchdown of the year. Thomas hits this one. That gets a little extra applause from the partisan Bears crowd at Soldier Field. 10:28 remains in the first half. Chicago 13, the Vikings nothing. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris, we are back at Soldier Field where sunshine is bathing the carpet, and the Bears are bathing in some glory of taking a 13-0 lead over the Vikings. A ground ball kickoff by Finzer is fielded near the 26-yard line, and it was fielded by Alan Rice, the reserve running back, a rookie out of Baylor, who has been switched to the defensive team this week, although Les Steckel says he could wind up back on offense, a teammate of Alfred Anderson's. Remember, coming next, most of you are going to be seeing a key game in the NFC West. The San Francisco 49ers and the Rams. The Rams are in second place behind the Niners. It's the first of two meetings this year, and you can see that Atlanta and New Orleans are back of those two leaders, and the battle would appear to be among the Niners and the Rams. So that's a big one with young Jeff Kemp doing awfully well the last couple of weeks for the Rams. He'll be meeting Joe Montana today, later on CBS. First down, Vikings. Archie Manning intended at the right side for Sammy White, number 85. Richardson, 27, went for the interception, and Todd Bell, number 25, was there to help out on the coverage. Meanwhile, we had a flag down at the line of scrimmage.
Roughing the passer, blow to the head, 76 Chicago, first down.
He called Steve McMichael for that penalty. We'll take a look at that interior blocking. Dan Hampton is on the right over the center on this kind of a defense, and tries to come right up there and create some havoc there. And there was pressure on Archie Manning, almost an interception, but a slap to the head is illegal to hit that quarterback like that.
So the ball advances to the Bears' 46-yard line via the penalty route. The roughing the passer call against McMichael. And the Vikings in Bears territory now. Manning with the I formation. Play action. Manning is caught by Richard Dent. And then Otis Wilson. And finally the whistle is blown as Manning coughed up the ball. Richard Dent not only got the sack on Manning, but nearly stole the football. And credit to Manning for keeping a firm grip on things.
And Richard Dent, who had 3 sacks last week against Tampa Bay, is really coming on. And he got around the horn there outside of the tackle, and you were right about the fact that he tried to strip that ball. That was the first thing he was thinking of. Now you'll see him way at the back of your screen, and he comes around as he gets around Tausch and then just tries to strip that ball from Archie Manning, and Manning hung on for dear life there, almost lost it, and then the whistle blew.
A loss of 9 yards back to the 45-yard line of Minnesota. White, Jones, and Leo Lewis, the wide receivers. Manning's got a man open to Sammy White for a first down. Perfect first down pass play. Sammy White landed 1 yard past the marker at the Bears' 35, so Manning got it right back with a perfect strike.
And that time Archie Manning held his ground because Dent, 95 at the right of your screen, was coming on strong again, and Manning hit one perfectly fencing for the tackle. Sammy White the man who's caught so many key passes for Minnesota over the years.
21-yard gain for White, who had 15 catches coming into the game. The 30-year-old veteran out of Grambling. First down inside the 35 of Chicago. Jones in motion back toward the ball. Anderson's got running room. Alfred Anderson runs over a tackler and has another first down for Minnesota. Went right through Todd Bell. Leslie Frazier finally forced him out. This 225-pound halfback, I think, is going to be just a superstar in the NFL.
I'll give some credit to Curtis Rouse. He's number 68. He pulls the big 310-pounder out there and throws the block on Hartenstein, 73, to allow him to get around the horn. And finally, watch Anderson just keeps driving. And finally, a whole bunch of Bears had to knock him out of bounds. This is a nice drive for the Vikings, and that pass completion was a real confidence builder, I think, for Archie Manning.
No question about that. First down at the 23 of Chicago. Vikings trail 13-0. 8:44 to go first half. Manning under pressure is dropped. Dan Hampton gets the sack. And they're back at the 32-yard line.
Dan Hampton with his 5th sack of the year. As you can see him just to the left of the center, Ron Sams, number 99. See how quickly he gets off the ball? He's double teamed, gets out of it, gets away from Irwin, and then when Manning was forced to go out of the pocket, Dan Hampton was in on the tackle. That's why a player has to continue his rush, because you never know when somebody else is going to force the quarterback to run a certain way, and that time Hampton ran himself into a sack.
Second Bear sack, a 9-yard loss on that one. 2nd and 19. White, Jones, and Lewis, wide receivers for the Vikes. And they hand off the Statue of Liberty, but the Bears bury it. Otis Wilson dropping Darren Nelson back to the 45-yard line.
Otis Wilson blitzing from his left side as he went for the fake, actually, but came across the line of scrimmage, and nobody knocked him off stride. And Otis Wilson out of Louisville, playing with a sore groin. Didn't look like it was sore on that play, did it?
No. We talked to him on Friday. He said, I'm going to start Wilbur Marshall and Ron Rivera, the 2 rookies waiting in the wings. But Wilson is a man who has used up all of the time that he's been with the Bears to really assimilate this offense. He's in his 5th year. He acknowledges it took him a while to really get the feel of it. Now he says he does things without having to think about the complexities of that defensive scheme. Manning intercepted. Richardson. It was intended for Leo Lewis, and Mike Richardson picked it off at the Bear 25. Chicago has stopped the Vikings, and they have the ball at their own 30-yard line. Steve Jordan made the tackle on him.
Well, Manning was under some pressure, and he threw it into a whole bunch of Chicago Bears. There were a lot of dark jerseys around the situation. There's a great tackle coming up by Steve Jordan right here as he gets Richardson before he can return the ball. Had he not made that tackle, Richardson was headed down the sidelines, but the Bears have the ball. Minnesota's in some trouble.
Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris with 7:11 remaining first half. Mike Richardson's first interception of the season has given the Bears first down at their own 30-yard line. Vikings had a good drive going. A couple of sacks and an intercept took it away. Calvin Thomas in motion. That drew somebody offside for the Vikings. And whistles blow and flags fly.
Contact.
Contact made by number 58 on the defensive team, and that is Walker Lee Ashley. Reserve linebacker getting some time in Dennis Johnson's spot, I believe. The second-year man from Penn State.
Okay, there's Walker Lee, number 58. He had a good game last week. I think he was way offside. He wants to have a big game this week.
Medical report on Mark Mullaney is that he suffered a twisted neck in that pileup. You could clearly see, and hopefully it is nothing more than that. He looks all right, but they are saying he may not return. 1st and 5. Walter Payton bangs his way, and he was stopped cold at the 39-yard line, wound up with at least 2 more yards and a first down. Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York for another NFL report.
Tim and Johnny, perhaps the Philadelphia Eagles are better than we gave them credit for. Watch the secondary. The St. Louis Cardinals get burned on this bomb. Here it comes. Mike Quick, it's 90 yards. And now the Eagles have regained their lead. They are up 14-7 on the Cardinals. Back to Tim and Johnny.
Teams The Cardinals and the Eagles each having won their last 3 games, meeting head on, and so far the Eagles getting the edge. First down, Chicago. Payton again, battering his fake at Calvin Thomas, number 33, the fullback from Illinois. Picks up 3 yards to the 45-yard line of the Bears. Buried under several white-shirted Vikings and led by Doug Martin, number 79. College football next week on CBS Sports. You'll see the Iowa Hawkeyes currently atop the Big Ten against the Wisconsin Badgers, who upset Ohio State yesterday. And that is at 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock Central Time, right here on CBS Sports. So the battle for the right to go to the Rose Bowl continues.
McMahon is 5 of 6 so far in the passing department.
Walter Payton trying to get wide right. Vikings stringing out a diving tackle by Ashley on Walter Payton. And Payton, I'm sure, looked around to get that number. Ashley caught him from behind, the second-year man from Penn State. A nice tackle.
He put a little extra little hit on Walter Payton over on the sidelines, lifted his leg up like he wanted to, say, make a wish and split him apart, but it was nothing serious, you might say. He was just letting Walter know that he's there. So we have a 3rd down situation and about 6 as the Vikings make their adjustments.
John Haynes comes in, number 90, the rookie from Texas. He was the 4th choice of the Vikings. Came to them with a knee injury. Les Steckel thought he would have been drafted higher had he not been hurt in his senior year at Texas. And they kept him and dropped Randy Holloway. There's Payton trying to get to the short side, and another find of Viking defensive play. Rufus Bess was there, and the hit was made by Fred McNeil, number 54. Bess wouldn't let him make the turn, and McNeil cleaned it up, but a flag downfield.
It's a clipping against the Chicago Bears, and they probably would, I would imagine, refuse the penalty because it would be a 4th down situation.
Now, do you know they have made 6 of 7 on
Crackback
3rd?
punt, number 85, offense. Penalty is declined. It's 4th down.
And Tom Dooley says that McKinnon made an illegal crackback block downfield, and so that time Minnesota, both with the penalty and with the fine defensive play, stopped the Bears for the 3rd down conversion, and that means Chicago's 6 of 8 in that department, and Dave Finzer will punt from his own 31. Darren Nelson back at the 15 of Minnesota. Vikings trail 13-0. Finzer hits from his own 38. Short punt lands at the 25 and gets a Bear roll. And a covey of Bears surrounds it down there at the 13-yard line. Witches come in coveys, don't they? It's Halloween, that's why. 40-yard punt by Dave Finzer. And my witch experts remind me it's a coven of witches. Manning on first down. Incomplete, intended for Jones. Mike Jones at the 40-yard line. The pass a little off mark as Manning stepped up against the rush. And we want to remind you that next Sunday, our action begins with the NFL Today as usual on CBS Sports. And then many of you will see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Vikings at the Metrodome, 11:30 Central Time. And the game following, the Los Angeles Rams and the St. Louis Cardinals will be the game that you'll see here in the Chicago area. So lots of exciting and important NFL action next week. 2nd and 10. Manning gets some time. Intended for Jones, and it is incomplete, but there is a flag down and apparent interference. Richardson got a hand on the football as they had double coverage on Mike Jones, number 89, but it looks like the officials are ruling interference.
It's a good call because Richardson made contact with his body. He was trying to reach over, and he made contact before the ball got there.
Number 27 defense, 1st down.
So Richardson, who has an interception in the game, now has himself an interference call.
There was double coverage, but you'll see him make contact here before the ball gets there, and that was the reason for the call. A good call by the officials.
Mike Jones, the 2nd-year man from Tennessee State, has become the leading receiver on the Vikings this year. Manning fires it out quickly to the tight end, Joe Sensor. And Sensor is very close to the first down yardage. Number 81 out of Westchester State. It's been a year and a half since he's been able to get into action because of a severe knee injury.
Boy, that must make him feel real good, huh? Joe Sensor back in action. He's had a long, long wait. Now he's going out of the game, but he caught a pass.
Todd Bell made the tackle on him. And Sensor, at the age of 28, trying desperately to get back into the lineup off what we indicated was a severe knee injury. The Vikings have Jordan, Malarkey, and Hasselbeck also at tight end. That is Darren Nelson, and he has the first down and then some, as Sensor had a 9-yard pickup on his pass play, leaving a 2nd and 1, but the Vikings are now in Bears territory with a first down. Todd Bell tripping him up. They'll spot it at the 49 of the Bears. And there's Les Steckel on the left and quarterback Wade Wilson on the right, who signals in the plays to Archie Manning. Wade Wilson, the backup quarterback, now with Kramer on the sideline with an injury. 4-year man out of East Texas State, and they think he's got a future. Jones in motion back to the ball. Play action from Manning, is sacked again. A fearsome rush. Led again by Richard Dent and the safety Todd Bell on the blitz.
Their percentage of blitzes is starting to pick up in this football game as they come out of that 46 defense that they have, and they bring everything but the kitchen sink. Wilson was coming from the outside. You see Todd Bell, 25, who's the first one that got there, who forced Manning to turn to try and get away, and Dent was there for the cleanup as the Bears record another sack. So it looks like they're going to start trying to put pressure on Manning, even on first down.
Loss of 8 on that play. Manning is 5 of 8 and 45 yards. Not getting a lot of time to throw. Again pressure, he ran by Hampton, gets it off, in and out of the hands of Darren Nelson. And on the coverage, Otis Wilson, number 55, did not give Nelson a second chance to grab that ball. It popped in and out of his fingers. Manning did a fine job to get it to him under all that pressure.
So now the Vikings are into a third down situation, 3rd and about 17. And that has been the Bears' strong point over the years. This year they allow only 30% conversion on 3rd down. And when you got 3rd and 17, it's tough. So let's see what the Vikings come up with.
We're down to 2:41 remaining first half. Big 3rd down situation here. 3 wide receivers for the Vikings. The pass for Sammy White complete. And another first down for the Vikings. So again, Archie Manning and Sammy White hook up on a 3rd and long situation to get the yardage back from the sack loss. And a Viking first down inside the 35 of Chicago.
A good play, no blitz, but pressure on Manning. He could feel it coming. And then he throws, and it's right on the dime. There's a couple of passes that he has thrown that have just been excellent. Notice all the dark jerseys around there. In that kind of a situation, you know, there's a lot more people downfield. They only rushed 4, and they got 7 people downfield. And it's not easy to complete passes.
Fensick and Frazier were there to make the tackle on White. Big play for the Vikings. Manning complete to Sensor again. And another Viking first down as he picked up 11 yards to the 24-yard line. Richardson forced him out. And a 2-minute warning has sounded here at Soldier Field. We'll be back with the Bears in front, 13-0. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris, 1:56 on the clock at Soldier Field. It's clouded over a little bit more, but it's been a perfect fall afternoon for football. And the Minnesota Vikings trying to get on the scoreboard before halftime here. They trail 13-0, and that missed point after by Bob Thomas could loom large, especially if the Vikings can get it into the end zone and convert there.
Blitz.
Manning throws it up for White, incomplete. The blitz was on, as Johnny indicated, and Manning popped it up there. The Bears still, however, had 2 defenders back on White, and White is limping back out of the end zone and may have had a little muscle pull or something.
Here's the ISO. As you can see, this is Leslie Frazier, 21. Manning spotted the blitz, so he just put it up and figured he's got a one-on-one situation. And I can't tell right there, maybe it looked like he might have got his leg caught.
2nd and 10. Manning complete to Darren Nelson. Nelson picks up about 8 yards, close to the 15-yard line. Pulled down by Al Harris and Mike Richardson.
Pretty good blocking by the offensive line of the Vikings on that one to give Manning time to spot his secondary receiver. You know, the Minnesota offensive line's been moved around. The guards have switched sides, Rouse and Tausch, and they moved Irwin from right to left and back and forth, and Sams is having to play. That's almost like reconstructing your offensive line in midseason. That's not easy. Score, 13-0 still Chicago.
An optimistic young head coach, Les Steckel, hoping that his Vikings can get into the end zone here. They made a last-second shift. Manning's pass is intercepted by Singletary. Whistles and flags everywhere, however, and it looks like they're going to call that Manning was in the grasp of a tackler back at the 30-yard line. And it would be Steve McMichael who had him wrapped up there. We'll wait and see if that's the call, but they are wiping out the interception downfield.
And that is a break for the Vikings because they will still have the ball. It was an ill-advised throw by Manning because he had no chance to get it down the field to get any zip on it. And the ruling was that he was in the grass, so the pass does not count as Manning is forced out of the pocket, and they rule that he was in the grass. That's a judgment call by the official, but it gives the Vikings a chance for a field goal rather than the interception, so that's a key call.
Jan Stenerud will come out to try it from the 37-yard line. And he misses it wide left. Stenerud, who was 15 of 16 in the field goal department, misses wide left. And so with 55 seconds remaining in the first half, the Bears have the lead and the football at their own 29. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris, where the Bears have taken over at their own 29-yard line here at Soldier Field in Chicago. They lead 13-0, 55 seconds to play in the first half. Stenerud missing a 46-yard field goal attempt. McMahon on first down to Moorhead. Moorhead has a first down to the 40-yard line. And in the hurry-up offense, time ticking down past the 40-second mark. Studwell and Ashley made the tackle. McMahon sets up the screen to Suey. Suey is dropped on a nice ankle tackle by Tommy Hennon. A gain of only 4 yards on the play. And a timeout on the field, 28 seconds left. And we'll be back at Soldier Field after this. Bears have a 2nd and 7 at their own 43-yard line. 28 seconds left in the half. An extra defensive back in Jeff Coulter, number 43. Ashley and Sinline have been playing most of the second quarter at linebacker instead of Johnson and Blair. Out of the shotgun. Pressure on McMahon. He gets away from that. Fires it off to Suey. Suey away from McNeil. Takes a hard hit out of bounds from Studwell. But he has a first down and stops the clock with 18 seconds remaining. And the Bears are now in Viking territory at the 47.
Did you see that quick move to get away from Doug Martin that McMahon made? He just has a certain quickness as we look what's coming up at halftime. How about that?
Brandon Irv will have you scores and highlights from around the NFL. Remember Larry Brown, the great Washington Redskins running back, one of the legends of the game. You'll find out about Larry, what he's up to now, and look back at his fine career with the Redskins. Tough yardage back, Larry Brown was. First down, Chicago in Minnesota territory. Time winding down, trying to get more points on the board. The pass to Payton. He slipped on one of the wet patches on the turf. There was rain last evening in Chicago, and there are a few slick patches out there. And another timeout with 11 seconds remaining. Bears lead 13-0. There is Joe Sensor, who was a high school hockey player in that area in Westchester, Pennsylvania, where he's from. He went to school at Westchester State. A big Bobby Clark fan, Philadelphia Flyers star in his youth. 2nd and 5 for the Bears at the 42-yard line. McMahon going deep for Moorhead, and it is complete. Moorhead stole the ball from Carl Lee at the 2-yard line. Johnny Morris, I thought Lee had the football.
It looked like he was waiting on the ball to come to him, and Moorhead just aggressively, like a defensive back, went for the ball, made the interception, and then alertly called a timeout, because any player on the field now can call a timeout. Now the Bears have a big decision. Are they going to go for the touchdown or take the field goal? There's only time for one play here as McMahon puts it up. Carl Lee thought he had an interception there, and Moorhead just takes it away from him, jumps up, calls timeout, and very alert play by Emory Moorhead as it looked like a sure interception. 87 man from the local Chicago area, went to Evanston High School as they're going to take the field goal. Bob Thomas is out on the field. So Mike Ditka has opted not to take a chance and go for the 7 points and maybe not get it because he'd only have time for one play. He'll take the sure 3 because the Bears probably didn't figure they were going to, maybe it would have a shot at 3 at best.
Well, they would have that point after to make up for 2, so they'll gain that back +2 unless they try a fake or something fun like that, which they're not going to do. Bob Thomas nails it through. And so a big play by Emory Moorhead and Jim McMahon, who got him the football. McMahon 10 of 11 in the first half as the Bears take the lead 16-0.
The NFC Central when the sun sets tonight. Let's get you to the scoreboard and up to date on all the action around the league. This has been a game of missed opportunities for the Atlanta Falcons. They have been their own worst enemy against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Dan Henning's job will be in jeopardy down in Atlanta at the conclusion of this season if they continue playing this poorly. Gerald Riggs will take a handoff, and the ball is going to be coughed up here. And watch Dwayne Woodruff scoops it up, busts the tackle, gets in 65 yards, and the Steelers took a quick lead. Now Henning's Falcons might have come back on this play, and watch this. Stacey Bailey is all alone. It's got touchdown written on it, and he boots it, and it's still 7-0. Then it was Malone who has replaced the injured Woodley, drops back in the pocket, and he's got the veteran Stallworth for the touchdown. And right now the Steelers have got a 2-touchdown lead on the Falcons. New Orleans and Cleveland, they complained about Sam Ratigliano's offense. Well, the Browns aren't doing a whole lot better without him as head coach today. Cincinnati has now added a breach field goal. It is 17-7 over winless Houston. They are at the half. Tampa Bay and Kansas City. This one important for Bear fans, obviously. The Bucks have come back to who is that fella parachuting in there? Irv, take a look at this game.
Well, anyway, here's another player parachuting over the left tackle. Ken Lacey goes over for a 2-yard touchdown for Kansas City. And then DeBerg gets his offense going when he goes to your guy, number 89, Kevin House, for a 7-yard touchdown.
My guy.
Yeah,
I traded him for my fantasy team. My guy. 7-7, they're tied in the second quarter. The Jets and the Patriots. Well, Ron Meyer, no longer the coach, and the Patriots aren't stopping the Jets. Maybe they're doing a little bit better than they did against Don Shula and the Dolphins last week. It's never as easy as firing a head coach. 13-3, Jets with a lead there in the second quarter. The Detroit Lions have just kicked a field goal. It is 21-9. The Packers, of course, by winning over the Lions, would knock Detroit 3 games behind Chicago if the Bears hold on. Now, here is Dickey, who has been perfect in the first half. 9 of 9 for 142 yards and 2 touchdowns. That one to Kaufman. And Monty Clark now with his hands full in Detroit. Dickey again looking for his tight end Kaufman. He's got it at the 5, and he'll go in for the 20-yard touchdown. And again, Detroit has just come back to kick a field goal by Murray. It is now 21-9. Minnesota and Chicago, of course, the game you're watching, the Bears are shutting them out at the half. Bud Grant used to do a lot better in Chicago, didn't he? And the Colts and the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys have gone ahead, and Danny White has thrown to Tony Hill 38 yards for the score in that game. And St. Louis and Philadelphia, 17-14. Irv, tell us what's happened there.
Looked as though the Goblins were going to get the Cardinals when they came into Veterans Stadium today, Brent. But Ron Jaworski gets the offense started in a hurry when he goes to Mike Quick. Great reception. That was a 90-yard touchdown catch for Quick. Prior to this game, the longest pass he caught for a score was 39 yards. But Neil Lomax had all day to throw. The Cardinals' offensive line does a good job of punching out, giving him time to throw. He sees Pat Tilley in the shadow of the end zone until he makes an 8-yard reception, and the Cardinals have the lead.
All right, Irv, when we come back, you're going to be taking a look at a former star, Larry Brown of the Washington Redskins, when we continue after these messages from your local stations. We think we have an excellent doubleheader coming your way this afternoon on CBS. Most of you will see the San Francisco 49ers against the Los Angeles Rams. The 49ers with a 2-game lead on the Rams in the NFC West, but behind Jeff Kemp, the Rams have been on a roll the last few weeks. Now, the rest of you will see the Washington Redskins against the New York Giants. The Skins are trying to get back to a Super Bowl for the 3rd consecutive year. And you know, back in 1972, when the Skins first went to the Super Bowl under George Allen, they were led by a running back who learned his moves growing up in the mean ghetto streets of Pittsburgh. But as Irv Cross discovered in this Legend of the Game profile, Larry Brown has gone on from the high-pressure challenge of pro football to success in the high-tech world of the modern business executive.
Good morning.
That man's business card reads, Business and Community Relations Manager, Mid-Atlantic Region, Xerox Corporation. And everything from his leather shoes to his custom case to his tailored suit spells success. But it wasn't that long ago that Larry Brown wore a different kind of uniform, that of the Washington Redskins, where his business was carrying a football. He was a born fighter who didn't appreciate having beer poured on him in the end zone at Yankee Stadium. For Larry Brown grew up in a tough section of Pittsburgh known as the Hill District, where each day brought new hardships and challenges and a never-ending fight for survival.
It was a gang-like type of environment, and you had to protect your turf, and we'd go out and pick up a baseball game, and if we lost the game, we would win the fight, so to speak.
In a sense, Larry Brown never stopped fighting. But not only did he have to overcome tacklers much larger than himself, but he also had to deal with total deafness in his right ear, which forced him to wear a hearing aid inside his helmet.
The hearing aid worked for approximately 2 weeks, and thereafter it never worked again. But I never brought it up, and I never told anybody, and I just went on a regular basis. I would go ask the equipment manager for a new hearing aid.
He ran like a man who could neither hear nor see the dangers around him. A gridiron ghetto blaster.
I've never felt that I've really had talent as a running back. There wasn't anything that would stand out like a Gale Sayers or Jim Brown. And I thought that the way I ran was the way I had to run to get home every day.
He developed his moves running through the Hill District, but he earned his living running through defenses. In 1972, he led the Redskins to a Super Bowl and was named NFL Player of the Year.
I made a major contribution to a team effort. I gave 100% or more on every play. There was no malingering. There was no holding back, no fear of any obstacles, mission-oriented, you know, professional street football player.
Outside of Jim Taylor, he was about as tough head-on runner as I've ever seen in the league. Listen, what about his hearing today? It was so bad as a player.
Well, he's had a hearing problem all his life. He still wears a hearing aid, but he hasn't let that handicap bother him at all. He's been a great inspiration for the young people in the Washington area.
He sure has. All right, let's send you back to the stadium now in the game you're enjoying on CBS.
We are live from Soldier Field in Chicago at halftime. The Bears leading Minnesota 16-0. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris on hand, and certainly the #1 defense in the NFL doing its thing again, Johnny. They've shut out the Vikings so far. They have touchdowns from Matt Suhey and a touchdown pass from McMahon to Dennis McKinnon, and then they got a little bonus three-pointer there at the end in that final 2-minute drill.
They certainly did. Emory Moorhead came up with a good play as far as the Bears are concerned because they were ahead 13-0. This set up a field goal, which gave them a 16-0 lead, and Moorhead just with great individual effort as he went straight down the field. Carl Lee had the play well covered. In fact, he was waiting for the ball, but got out and muscled for it as Emory Moorhead made the reception and then alertly got up and called a timeout. That's a new rule a couple of years ago that was put in, that any player on the field can call a timeout. There were 3 seconds left on the clock, and of course Bob Thomas kicked the field goal. And you have to give Emery Moorhead, I think, an A on that play, wouldn't you? Maybe an A+.
Absolutely, and he finally got to start again. Mike Ditka's been running through those tight ends in that department, so he's got to feel pretty good about that. We'll be back at Soldier Field in a moment. It's taken by Jack Cameron at the 3-yard line for the Bears. Cameron, number 30, takes a vicious hit at the 23-yard line, a real head-on collision, and it looked like it was number 50, Dennis Folks, who made the stop on him. The second-year man from West Virginia with a solid shot at the 23 of Chicago. And you can see here that the Bears defensively in that first half certainly did the job.
They held the Vikings to total yards of 117. The Bears amassed 213, 4 sacks to no sacks, and the Bears once again controlled the clock. 17 minutes and 45 seconds they had the ball.
So Chicago, with the lead, has the football to start the second half. And things have kind of darkened up a bit again here at Soldier Field, and they have the lights on. Payton trying the short side. A nice tackle in the open field by Walker Lee Ashley, number 58, getting an arm on Payton and tripping him up. It'll be a gain of a yard. Make it 2.
Walker Lee Ashley is going to have to play more and more for the Vikings. He's number 58, and he goes down the line, then comes through right there through the block, beats the block by Rob Feta, and then makes the tackle on Payton. Walker Lee playing some pretty good football.
2-yard pickup means Payton needs 20 to reach the 1,000-yard mark for the season. Matt Blair is back in at the left outside linebacker. Ashley, Studwell, and McNeil are the other 3 linebackers, and the Vikings 3-4. And they give it to Suey on a reverse misdirection play, but the Vikings smelled that out, and McNeil tracked him from behind, number 54.
They obviously have monitored that play. They have the Bears have run that play a lot with the action of Payton one way and Suey coming from the wing back the other way. And Fred McNeil, 54, said, I'm going to go with Matt Suey, and he just ran him down from behind. Fred
Loss
McNeil.
of 5 yards on the play will bring up third and close to 13 yards. You can see the Bears have been a pretty good second half team, at least in terms of not surrendering their leads.
McMahon was 10 of 11 in the first half.
10 of 11, 140 yards and a touchdown to McKinnon. Out of the shotgun. Steps up away from the pressure, and he'll run it. First down for McMahon at the 38-yard line. A swarm of Vikings collected him there. Ranging back was number 90, John Haynes, the rookie defensive end. And coming up from the secondary, Joey Browner, 47, and Jeff Coulter, 43.
And this is an example of the
defensive end. And coming up from the secondary, Joey Browner, 47, and Jeff Coulter, 43.
And this is an example of the great peripheral vision that he has as the Vikings came on the rush. And you can see the lanes there. And when he spots the lane, can't find anybody open. And watch number 90, Haynes. He comes from behind when McMahon is tackled and really gets a shot on Jim McMahon right there.
It was another Covey in on the tackle.
Yes, you got it right, Covey.
Quails come in coveys, and witches come in covens. I know all you folks out there have been waiting to get that squared away. First down, Chicago. And it swung out to Payton and went right through his hands. Walter is not perfect. He was looking upfield, I think, Johnny, for some real estate to work with there, and he dropped the ball.
He was ready to make his move because he felt a defender there and put his hands up. That's the second pass he's dropped in 2 games, and I don't think he's dropped 2 over the last 3 or 4 years. It just went through his hands. But I'm sure that Mike Ditka will forgive Walter Payton, aren't you?
I would think so. The skins are on the wall, as former general manager Jim Finks of the Bears used to say about Walter Payton. He's got the skins on the wall. 2nd and 10. Payton could make the 1,000-yard mark in this game. Rushing, that is. This pass complete to Galt, and a first down in Viking territory. Willie Galt. Tackled by Carl Lee, number 39, and then Ashley, the linebacker, 58, getting in on it.
Rufus Best, 21, you're going to see him slip down as he backpedaled, and Galt just turned in as McKinnon turned out, and you'll see Best just getting up after slipping down, number 21, and gets in on the tackle, or actually he doesn't. It's Carl Lee who makes the tackle. Willie Galt, you got to play him off because he doesn't catch a lot of passes, but he catches some bombers. He has 4 touchdown passes so far this season.
in Viking territory at the 48-yard line.
Blitz.
Walter Payton. Good hole behind Hilgenberg and Becker. And he found it and picks up about 6. Rufus Bess and Hennon with Matt Blair all combining on the tackle. It'll be 2nd and a long 4 for the Bears. And look what Green Bay is doing to Detroit at halftime.
And the Bears could possibly take a 3-game lead in the division depending on what Tampa Bay does. But look at this, 28-9. The Packers had only won 1 game going into today's action.
Walter Payton's 5-yard pickup leaves him 15 to go to the 1,000-yard mark. And he's got another 5 close to the first down yardage. And a bunch of Vikings combine, and now a little bit of rough play. Van Horn and Hennon getting at each other. And Hennon just coming up to get in on the action. Apparently had a little brief tussle with Big Van Horn, the offensive right tackle. Timeout on the field as they will bring in the flags to measure this one.
The Chicago Bear fans have just reacted to the news about the Green Bay-Detroit game.
The Vikings, as we get this measurement, have lost 3 games of their 6 defeats in the final minute of play. Indeed, a couple of them on the final play of the game. So they have been somewhat of a hard luck team in this transition year from Bud Grant to Les Steckel. And it is a first down for the Chicago Bears, who with a victory here today, should they hang on to win, would move to 6-3. And as Johnny pointed out, Green Bay doing it to Detroit at halftime could affect the Lions' chances of catching up with the Bears.
Plus the fact that Tampa Bay has lost twice to the Bears, so in effect they are 3 games behind.
First down, Chicago from the 38-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. McKinnon in motion. They go to Payton wide right. And Payton slides out of bounds on his belly after a gain of about 4. Scott Studwell forcing him out. So Payton closing in on that 1,000-yard mark as we grind it down here.
And he says he's going to go till 15,000 yards and then have a 15,000-mile checkup. But,
only 6 more yards needed to reach 1,000, which would tie him with Franco Harris for 8,000-yard seasons in his career.
He's had some great years. This is actually his best year so far as yards at this point of the season.
Start, yeah.
And he's averaging 5.1 per carry going in, which is higher than his career average.
Well, Jim McMahon needs a timeout here to consult with Mike Ditka, either the Vikings look or some miscue on the play call. And we'll be back at Soldier Field, 10:08 remaining third quarter. I saw the Great Pumpkin earlier here at Soldier Field, as apparently Bears fans are getting ready for Halloween upcoming this week. And right now enjoying their team being in front of the Vikings. Having a 2nd and a long 5. Intended for Goff, incomplete. Pass a little behind him. He could not bring it back in near the 20-yard line. It'll be 3rd down. Jim McMahon not pleased with that one. And remember, stay tuned with us. We've got more football action coming along today on CBS Sports. The 49ers and the Rams. And this is a key battle in the NFC West. You can see the 49ers on top, the Rams at 5-3. They have yet to play each other this season, so it's the first of 2. And it'll be Kemp against Montana, as the Rams really need a win if they've got a shot at the Western Division title. And most of you will be seeing that, except for those in the Chicago area. The game will not be viewed in Chicago.
Blitz.
3rd down, McMahon under pressure, and it is incomplete. Double coverage on Walter Payton, who got jostled around and is looking for a flag, but none forthcoming. And the crowd supporting Walter's viewpoint. It doesn't count for much.
He was claiming that Carl Lee, 39, hit him before the pass got there. There is McMahon's pass. You see Payton right in the middle of your screen downfield. There was some collision, some contact actually before the ball arrived there, but no call. So the Bears will be forced to punt.
Dave Finzer stands right at midfield.
They're punting from the 34-yard line.
He's punted only once for 39 yards. Nelson is well up at the 12-yard line, just protecting.
There he goes.
Fincher's going to run it. And he's tripped up on an outstanding tackle. Reaction. Did he get the first down?
No.
I don't know. Doesn't appear like he did. And I'm not sure who made the tackle, but that was a heads-up defensive play, picking up the fake punt. Finn's a pretty good athlete. And it was either Chris Martin or Robin Senline, backup linebackers, who made the tackle on him.
Well, you had to figure that the Bears might be up to something on a 34-yard line, punting from that position, and they were up to something. And as you said, it was a saving tackle for the Vikings because the Bears were definitely short.
Here it is. Let's see if we can pick up the tackler on the replay.
Okay, he went inside, takes off down the field, and who gets that hand on him? Couldn't quite tell who it was.
But it was not 57, so the odds are that it was Chris Martin, but we are unable to confirm that. Fine play for the Vikings. We'll be right back. Terry Kane had the right man here, and it's second-year man from Auburn, Chris Martin. Johnny, this was a really good play.
It certainly was. It was basically an arm tackle, as Fincher would have gone for a long ways. He hasn't run the ball much since his old high school days at Loyola here in the Chicago area. Minnesota's ball.
So the Vikings have it. Manning continues at quarterback. It's dropped by Nelson, and I believe recovered by the Vikings. Mike Jones with an alert recovery. Not a great exchange between Manning and Nelson, and the ball popped loose. There were Bears there, but it's Mike Jones coming up with the ball for the Minnesota Vikings and preventing a near disaster there. They would have given the ball right back to the Bears at their own 22. There's a loss on the play back to the 22 of about 8 yards.
A loss of 7.
Well, Pittsburgh clinging to a lead over Atlanta 14-3 at halftime. New Orleans in front of Cleveland 10-7. New coach for the Browns, Marty Schottenheimer, getting his first action today.
Blitz.
Coach Manning sails it up for Jones. It's incomplete, and Jones complaining that Richardson interfered with him, but that was one of those cases where Jones just didn't get to run the route that he wanted to, as Richardson had him well covered.
Archie Manning called the right audible. That was the Bear 46 defense with a blitz, and you know you're going to get one-on-one situation. As you look at Cincinnati has come back on Houston. It is now the Bengals 17-7 in the third quarter. Tampa Bay, Kansas City 7-all at halftime. And the Jets in New England, the Jets on top 20-6.
Boy, the surprising New York Jets. They are really playing well. Dewerson and Schmidt are in defensively for the Bears on the passing down. Third and long for Manning. Forced out of the pocket again. He'll run. Sliding in, and he stopped short of the first down. Manning, had he gone another yard, would have, well, they're going to spot it. Let's see where they spot it. This will be an important spot. And they spot it back at the 37-yard line. Short of the first down.
He's going to be short as the Bears put the pressure on, and Manning takes off. Used to be a great runner as a quarterback when he was younger. He's not so young anymore, but this is a case where I think he had to be thinking, and maybe, hey, I'm going to go for it and take your chances you don't get hurt. But he had no chance that time. You got to be aware where that first down is, and usually it's a quarterback is.
Came up short by a yard after a 16-yard run. It'll be Greg Coleman standing at his 23-yard line, pardon me, to punt it. Gets a good snap. And it is Fisher at the 25 on the run, is out of bounds, forced out by Browner. And so the Bears will start from their 31-yard line when we return to Soldier Field under gray skies and a 16-0 Chicago lead. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris sold out Soldier Field in Chicago. 8 minutes to play, third period. Chicago with a 16-0 lead in the football. First down at their 31. McKinnon in motion. Flare out to Galt for a flanker screen, and Covert blocked from behind. Knocked down from behind, gets up a little bit slowly, but he's all right, and a gain of about 6 yards on the play. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of the telecast without the express written consent of the Chicago Bears and the NFL is prohibited.
Pat Dunsmore just brought in the play for Jim McMahon. Calvin Thomas is in there now.
Fred McNeil made that last tackle for the Vikings. Veteran linebacker on the right side. That's Thomas, 33, in motion. They fake it to Payton, and McMahon now fires it up to Thomas, and he is stopped short of the first down by about a yard. Hannon and Ashley and Studwell all there. Matt Blair, the one to actually force him out. Charlie Johnson had the pressure on McMahon on the play. So it'll leave a 3rd and 2 for Chicago. The ball at their own 39-yard line. McMahon is 13 of 17 in the passing department for the Chicago Bears.
If he had a few more completions on the year, he didn't throw some in a couple of games that he missed, and where he was injured with his hand, he would be the #1 rated quarterback in the league. But right now, he's a few attempts short.
Bears are 7 of 10 today on 3rd down, and they've got a 3rd and 2 here. Blitz, Walter Payton, and he is wrapped up by McNeil. Fred McNeil was waiting right there at the corner. Matt Blair came over to help him, and they stopped the Bears. Walter Payton cold.
Good defensive play by the entire Viking defensive line and the backers. They blitzed right through the holes there on a running play, and who knows, maybe that's something that can give the Vikings some spark.
Dave Finzer at the 25. Darren Nelson waiting for it at the Viking 29. Vikings showing a rush on. Now send only one man, and Finzer gets it away. They hit Dave Dewerson back up at the 25, which Nelson points out to the officials, so they'll get a spot at the 26-yard line, and we'll start from there when we return. An unhappy Dave Finzer didn't like his punt. And Johnny Morris back here at Soldier Field, and this is crunch time for the Vikings. They've got to get something going here. They're at their own 26. They haven't got a point. They have a missed field goal try by Stenerud, the closest they came. Alfred Anderson. They string it out, and he gets very little of anything. Richard Dent stayed right on him and rode herd on him out of bounds, with Al Harris making sure he did not get the corner turned, and it'll be maybe a loss of a yard on the play.
There was Wade Wilson signaling in the play too, Archie Manning, as Les Steckel is to his left, and Tommy Kramer on the extreme right. Some frustrated quarterbacks right now.
Turns out to be no gain on the play. Kramer out with a shoulder injury. Steckel said he would stick with Manning as long as possible to give him a chance. And he completes that one for about 5 to Mike Jones, number 89, the second-year man from Tennessee State. So he's still stuck with an important play here. 3rd and about 6, actually, it'll be. A reminder, next Saturday, Sports Saturday, will have doubleheader championship action for you. Exciting Billy Costello in front of his hometown fans in Kingston, New York, against former champion Leroy Haley, and world super bantamweight champion WBC version Jaime Garza, one of the knockout artists in boxing. Also, 1984 world figure skating champions, you'll see Torval and Dean and Tiffany Chin next Saturday afternoon on CBS Sports. 3rd down and 6. Manning complete to Jordan. Jordan has a first down to the 41-yard line. So Manning comes through on 3rd down and keeps the Vikings moving upfield. Manning now 10 of 16.
Steve Jordan has done very well this year for the Vikings. He won that Superman contest they had at their exhibition at their training camp. And here he jams off the jam by Todd Bell, heads for the outside. There was a lane for Manning to throw the ball, and Jordan makes the grab. Bell on the tackle. The Vikings get what I think is a crucial first down. They've got to get on the board. You got to get first downs before you get those touchdowns.
3:35 to go, 3rd period, out of the pro set now. Jones and Leo Lewis, the wide receivers flank left. Little play action. They come out to Nelson, incomplete. Even on the play action, the Bears had pressure down the middle from Dent and Hampton, and Manning, again, had no chance to even set, despite making the run fake. So that Bear pressure has been a huge factor against this offensive line. Johnny, we talked about how they're really playing out of position. Riley's got a bad left hand, and so he's been moved over to right tackle, exchanging with Tim Irwin. Tausch and Rouse changed positions from left to right. Rouse moving to the right side this week because his left-handed stance makes it easier for him to work from the right side, but it's a recent switch, and it may be affecting their pass blocking. And plus, Ron Sam's in for the injured Jim Huff at center. That's knocked down at the line of scrimmage, and it was Dent getting a big paw, a bear paw, up to knock that pass of Manning's down.
He did that same thing last week, knocked down a pass or deflected one that was intercepted, as Richard Dent has really come on. And all linemen are taught when you see the quarterback take 1-2 to throw, you forget your pass rush and just jump up in the air, and that is what Richard Dent did, as the Vikings now have a key third down situation, 3rd and 10. 2 or 3 times Sammy White has come through for them, but we'll see what happens now. White is up at the top of your screen, limping slightly.
They are 3 of 8 turning it over on 3rd down, and he's got 2 of them. A low snap, and Manning, all he can do is cover the football. Out of the shotgun, Ron Sam's with another difficult low snap, playing for the injured Jim Huff. And so and Manning does not even get a chance on 3rd down.
Okay, you got to take a look at it. Actually, it was catchable. It was low, but Manning should have had it. And all he could do then was just sit on the ball as Greg Coleman is on the punt, and Les Steckel's wondering what's going wrong.
So it'll be Coleman to punt. I agree, that was a catchable snap. Ron Sam's really don't want to give him too much of the blame there. Coleman gets a Viking bounce. Fisher fields at the 19. And Jeff Fisher, number 24, brings it out to the 31-yard line, where he is met by Robin Sendline, number 57 of the Vikings. So Chicago will have the football in pretty good field position, and more importantly, a 16-0 lead. Well, there are some real Vikings on hand here to cheer on the Minnesota team. They're doing better in the stands, and their club is on the field at the moment. Chicago has the football. 1st down. Walter Payton to the near side behind Suey, cuts it up, and a flag down as Payton forced out of bounds at the 39-yard line after a pickup of about 8 on the play, but flags are down on the play. We'll have to see whether or not Waller has reached the 1,000-yard mark on that play, but it is against the Bears, so he'll have to wait. 2:21 to play in the 3rd period.
I would imagine that the Vikings have got to do something. They have to create something defensively. They have been basically a 3-man rush with not too much blitzing, and they're not getting to the quarterback. And when they have gotten in, McMahon has sidestepped them. But they can't sit back in a 3-4 or just a 4 without a blitz.
Offense number 83, 1st down.
And let McMahon keep popping. I think they got to take some chances, don't you, Tim? And the call was on Willie Gault.
Yes, it was.
There's 83 right there. Looks like he pulled a few people down.
Yeah, nice tackle, but he was playing offense at the time.
So I think the Viking defense is there. When you're down 16-0, you got to do some things to maybe take a chance. You might get down further, but what the heck?
Mullaney has not returned, of course, so they're going without one of their better pass rushers. McMahon just got it off. Incomplete, intended for Walter Payton. They had a rush that time from Elshire, number 73. Who had a hand on McMahon. Let's get a handle from Brent Musburger.
Tim, more and more the St. Louis Cardinals are looking like a playoff team. They've opened up some daylight now on the Philadelphia Eagles. This is Lomax, who has thrown at least 1 touchdown pass for 17 straight games. That one, of course, to his tight end Marsh. 10-point lead. Back to Tim and Johnny.
Lomax's 2nd touchdown pass of the game, hitting Tilley earlier, and 24-14 lead for the Cards.
Where's Roy Green? They must be triple covering.
Probably. 2nd and 20. The loss back to the 20-yard line. Suey breaks a tackle, and Suey crashes up over the 35-yard line. Some hard running for Matt Suey. About a 14-yard pickup. Rufus Bess and Tommy Hennon, the corner and the safety, 21 and 45, make the tackle for the Vikings.
We have some more scores from around the league coming up. Here you have Kansas City leading Tampa Bay 14-7. That's more good news for the Chicago Bears. Cleveland has a 14-10 lead over New Orleans.
Oh, those Saints have been sagging. Cleveland with their new coach today. Third down and 6. Vikings really have to stop them here. And they do. A diving block on the pass intended for McKinnon by Jeff Coulter, the rookie from Kansas, a free agent, making the defensive play on a little rollout pass play by McMahon. And that was a key defensive stop for Minnesota. If they have a chance to get back into this ball game, they've got to get the football back with 1:20 remaining, third period. And they should wind up with fairly good field position. Finzer will stand at his 20-yard line to punt it for the Bears. Darren Nelson at the 32 of Minnesota.
Now notice that Darren Nelson is on the left hash mark.
Vikings with a rush. Finzer gets it off. Not a bad punt into the wind. Fair catch, Nelson at the 31-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. And this would appear to be the series for Minnesota right here. And coming next, most of you are going to see a key battle in the NFC West. The leading San Francisco 49ers at 7-1. The Rams at 5-3 in second place. And it looks like they will be the two teams scrapping it out because they have still 2 games to play, counting today. In other words, this is the first meeting between the Rams and the Niners.
That game will not be seen in the Chicago area.
On first down, Manning. Manning for Nelson, overthrew him. Now Manning did have some time that time, just did not get the ball to Darren Nelson. Al Harris had the coverage on him. So it is 2nd and 10. Out goes Alfred Anderson. Ted Brown bringing play into Archie Manning this time from the sideline. Leo Lewis out to the left, Mike Jones out to the right. Brown and Nelson, the running backs, in a wide set. Straight drop for Manning, and Al Harris blitzing. Had nobody touch him. And another Chicago sack. So that #1 defense in the NFL shows another reason why. So many looks, so many moves.
Now, notice number 90, Harris, is to the left of your screen. He's on the other side in front of the tight end, but he doesn't cover. He comes in on the blitz, and Manning had no chance as the Bears fool him with their defensive strategy once again, because when somebody gets in there slick and clean like that, there has been a mistake. 5 sacks for Chicago, none for Minnesota.
47 yards lost via the sack route by Minnesota. Third down, 18 to go. So again, big pressure on Manning here. Another low snap. Manning has a man open. That is Sammy White, but well short of the first down. He's dropped at the 32. So the Bears defense consistent today. Todd Bell made the tackle, and Minnesota will have to punt again.
I think
Steckel on the sideline gets the headset off.
He told us last night that the Chicago Bears were the best team that the Vikings have faced this year. And now I believe him.
That includes the Los Angeles Raiders in his estimation. Jeff Fisher catching Greg Coleman's fine punt, got it back to the 29-yard line. And was dropped there by Joey Browner. And the gun sounds. That's the end of the third quarter with the score. The Chicago Bears 16 and the Minnesota Vikings nothing. Late summer sailors or early frostbiters out there on Lake Michigan. There's a breeze, get out there. Just put your slickers on and enjoy it. Guess they couldn't get a ticket to the Bear game. First down for the Chicago Bears with what is now correctly described as a commanding lead. 16-0 beginning the fourth period. And they have the football and they can grind it out on you. Walter Payton grinding for about 5. If it is 5, he will need just 1 more yard to reach the 1,000-yard mark. And they're going to give him exactly 5. McNeil and Elshire making the tackle, and Charlie Johnson got in on it. A reminder that next week, college football on CBS. The Wisconsin Badgers, who upset Ohio State yesterday against the Big Ten leading Iowa Hawkeyes. 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock Central Time on CBS Sports. Important Big Ten battle. 1 yard to go for Walter Payton to get 1,000. McMahon forced out by Matt Blair. Runs it out of bounds at the 32-yard line. At the, it's about the 32. He may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. You'd need to get to the 34, so that could wind up as a loss of a yard of the play. And meanwhile, Cincinnati doing it to Houston. Winless Oilers, 24-7.
Then you have the Jets 20-6 over New England, which had a change in coaching. Raymond Berry now the coach there. Indianapolis, no luck in Dallas so far. It's Cowboys 13-0 in the third quarter.
Greg Smith and John Haynes have come in defensively for the Vikings with Jeff Colder in the secondary on this obvious passing down for Chicago. See if the Vikings can stop them here and then get something going offensively. McMahon for Willie Gault. He's got it. Now drops the ball, but it's out of bounds, I believe, incomplete. Joey Browner had the coverage. Gault appeared to have the catch made. Did he step out, Johnny, or did he just drop the ball, did not have it long enough?
It was hard to tell. I think he lost it while coming down. He had a short step on Browner, and he was in bounds as the ball came in, and as Browner makes the hit, I think it comes out on the way down.
Yeah, he just didn't have full possession. Browner looked like he might have got his arm right there at the ball, so good effort by Joey Browner, and so the Vikings have held. Nelson is back to receive Finzer's kick. Finzer standing at the 17-yard line will hit it from the 22, and it was nearly blocked. Nelson at the 24, away from Duerson. Up to the 29-yard line. A solid shot on him by Ron Rivera, rookie linebacker number 59. And so the Vikings, from their own 29-yard line, have really got to do something on this series. They trail 16-0, 13:48 remains, regulation time. There is the Chicago Bear in person. Happy right now with that score. Vikings have got to get it done here. Nothing to show. A miss by Stenerud on a field goal has been the closest they've come. Manning, complete. Al Harris all over that receiver. We will identify as soon as we can get a look, and it's Jordan, the tight end, number 83, a gain of close to 5.
Watch the double team on Dan Hampton. He's complaining that he got held. He's number 99 right there in the middle. Now he goes through two guys. He claims they're holding him, and it looks like somebody might have been Curtis Roush. And now he says, did you see that?
Life's tough enough out here. Second down, a long 5 for the Vikings. Pressure on Manning. He's sacked again. Al Hampton might have been bothered by a lack of a call on the previous down, so he just went ahead with Richard Dent, got another sack on him.
Well, the Viking blocking just broke down here. As you see, 99 is Hampton. Dent, Mark Hartenstein gets through. Steve McMichael, 73, 76, forced McMahon, or I should say Manning, out of the pocket. And there's Dan Hampton with a half a sack along with Dent. A whole bunch of people in on that one. Look at that, 6 Chicago sacks. They had 27 going into this game. And Les Stegel says, what do you do now?
54 yards in sack loss. White, Collins, and Leo Lewis, 3 wide receivers for the Vikings. Manning put into another difficult third down. Hartenstein, loose ball. Manning injured on the play. Hartenstein got him from behind. And the sack, the play whistled dead prior to the fumble, evidently. And so the Vikings will have to punt. Manning got up a little slowly and limps off.
Hartenstein chased him all the way from the other side of the field as Manning did fumble that ball, but the Vikings did recover it. Mike Hartenstein, who had a couple of sacks last week, been playing injured with sore ribs, and I'll tell you, the Vikings are in big trouble. They just cannot handle the Chicago Bear defense.
Coleman gets a fine kick away from the shadow of his goal line. Jeff Fisher has a blocker, but the Vikings special team does the job and stops him near midfield. Maurice Turner, reserve running back, a rookie, and Fred McNeil, a veteran linebacker, made the tackle on Fisher, but the Bears have the ball in Viking territory. For the California rivalry on CBS Sports next, the 49ers and the Rams, Montana and Kemp, the dueling quarterbacks. Jeff Kemp had quite a story for the Rams for the injured Vince Ferragamo. And all of you will be seeing that except those in the Chicago area, but stay tuned to CBS anyway. McMahon on first down. Out of the pressure, finds an open man for a gain of 8 yards. It's Matt Suhey, the fullback. Bears game plan called for them to hit Suhey and Payton out of the backfield. They've done so today. McNeil and Studwell.
Watch Walter Payton, 34. McMahon was trying to hit him out of the backfield, and watch what the defensive line does to Payton, 34. You can see Charlie Johnson, everybody else kind of trying to grab a hold of him, so then he adjusts, McMahon does, and throws across to Matt Suhey.
2nd and 2 for the Chicago Bears at the 40-yard line of Minnesota. This is Payton, and Payton got probably the yard he needs for 1,000. And what a wrap on him by Neil Elshire, number 73, and Charlie Johnson, who has been a solid force in the middle of that 3-4 defense today, number 65.
And Walker Lee Ashley was across there too. So he's around the ball a little bit as you look at Walter Payton, who is now over the 1,000.
No, didn't get the yard.
Didn't get it.
Didn't get the yard. They ruled no gain on the play, and credit the Vikings defense for making him try at least one more play. 3rd down, and still 2 remaining. Slot formation left. Suhey sets up on the wing right. McMahon, and the pass was low but caught by McKinnon for a first down for the Bears. On the coverage was Carl Lee, number 39. John Swain has not been in the game defensively since back in the first period for Minnesota. Joey Browner's been getting time at the left corner. And we have had no medical report on Swain, so it may be just simply that they are giving Browner the game time at corner. They are planning to try him there. He has been a safety since coming as the #1 pick last year.
With the Vikings' luck, he's probably hurt. They've had so many people hurt this year, so many.
This is Payton on first down. Has about 4 to the 30-yard line, and another 1,000-yard season for Walter Payton, tying him with Franco Harris for 8 career 1,000-yard seasons. A standing ovation for Payton here at Partisan Soldier Field, 57 yards on the day. And how often these fans have stood to acclaim the play of Walter Payton. One achievement, one record after another. And there is how it looks. Payton and Harris each with 8. They're set with 6. Payton again. And he is wrapped up by a good defensive play reaction by Tommy Hannon. What a steady guy he's been, knocking him out at the 30-yard line. Hannon had 48 tackles coming into the game, and you know, in his left thumb, he's working with 7 stitches that he picked up in the game last week against Detroit. And Hannon's been out there all along. He doesn't miss too many starts either, Mr. Hannon. This is his 96th straight game as a starter for the Vikings. Third down and 6. McKinnon, Vaschnagel, and Galt, 3 wide receivers in the shotgun formation. They give it to Payton. And the Vikings smelled that out. And who was it again? No, this time Coulter. The rookie Coulter, just coming up with quick speed, number 43 from Kansas, as the Vikings read that one and force a 4th down.
Boy, did he charge a loss across the line of scrimmage as he played his keys and just went right across there. He saw the run developing, took his chance, got through the 2 offensive linemen that were leading Payton and made the tackle. Super play.
Jeff Calder, 5'10", 164-pounder out of Kansas. Thomas is going to attempt the field goal, and they just got Jim Colbert in there in time to help block for him. It'll be from the 43-yard line, and it is wide to the left. Looked like he had the distance in that 53-yard try, but it was just a little wide to the left. So the score remains at 16-0 for the Bears, and the Vikings come out with pretty good field position. The line of scrimmage having been at the 36-yard line of Minnesota. And Les Steckel will try to get something going here offensively. Archie Manning will continue at quarterback. Now, when you've been the recipient of 7 sacks for 65 yards and losses, Johnny, what new can you do here in this desperate situation?
You can throw short passes.
Get them off in a hurry. And there's one, complete to the tight end, Jordan. And he has a first down to the 48-yard line. Al Harris forcing him out. So quicker passes should be the order of the day, and they certainly have to throw the football. They must score 3 times. The ball at the 48-yard line of Minnesota. One setback is Ted Brown. Slot formation right.
Here they come.
A deep drop for Manning, and they get him. Otis Wilson. There were 7 Bears rushers on that play. 7.
And Otis Wilson is on the outside, number 55. As you can see, what happens is that when the tight end releases, Tim Irwin doesn't know who to pick up. He's got Al Harris and number 55, Otis Wilson, coming in. And there were just too many Bears on that side of the ball. As the Vikings can't handle it, that's 8 sacks. The league record, I believe, is 13.
And they need only 1 more to tie their own club record, which they've done twice against Green Bay in 1970, St. Louis in 79. Another low snap. Manning scoops it up, and he is dropped. A flag down, but the infraction is against Minnesota, and the Bears have tied their all-time best day sacking quarterbacks with 9. If it's against Chicago, then they will still need 1 to do it.
Illegal motion, 76 offense. The penalty is declined. Every 3rd down.
So they have 9 sacks on the day, and can you blame these guys for being illegally in motion? I mean, they're getting desperate out there to try and keep the Bear rushers out.
Okay, there's 76 to the left of your screen. The snap wasn't too hot either. It looked like he might have moved a little bit too, but look at that snap. But they're just not able to handle a Bear rush. Even when they have enough men, the Bears are crisscrossing quite a bit and confusing that offensive line. As you know, it has moved a lot of people around. This is getting brutal.
3rd down, way back at the 32-yard line. Manning is hit again by Bell. Ron Sams again with another poor snap. Manning took a real shot from Bell. That is 10 sacks this afternoon for the Chicago Bears, a new club record in that department, and nobody had a hand on Bell.
Slick and clean. Archie Manning didn't have a chance. Did not have a chance as Bell came from the outside. Nobody touched him.
Greg Coleman will punt from the 10. The original line of scrimmage was at the 48-yard line. 4th down was at the 23. This has been an awesome defensive play by the Chicago Bears. We'll be right back.
There's Buddy Ryan, the Bears defensive coordinator, who has masterminded the blitzes that have worked so well this year. And Chicago has 10 sacks. That's a new Bears record. And the Bears defense #1 in the league, #1 in run defense, and who knows, they may be #1 in pass defense after this game is over. Buddy Ryan.
16-0, Bears football at their own 42-yard line. McMahon, 15 of 22 in the passing department. Fakes the draw. Deep for Gall. A bad pass. Joey Browner knocks it down. McMahon just did not get that ball off his fingertips well. Galt had his man beat. Browner reacted to the wounded duck football and knocked it down.
Browner did a good job on that aspect of it, but as far as before that, if the pass had been thrown well, it would have been a touchdown. But no dice for the Vikings.
2nd and 10 from the 42. Well, again, as they have every game this year, the Bears have had the football considerably more in time of possession than the other team. Averaging 35, 22 a game. Fake the draw again. The pass for Moorhead off the mark. A little pressure on McMahon that time, but the second bad pass in a row by McMahon, and after he let it fly, he took a pretty good shot as well. Double jeopardy for him. Van Horn apparently not happy with that. McMahon gets up wiping his chin. You know, I was talking to him about his offensive line. He said, you know what I like about these guys? They're all kind of wild and crazy. He said they are really a kind of a fun bunch. And they've built a nice rapport between quarterback and young offensive line.
The Bears' Achilles heel is the quarterback spot. McMahon gets hurt. As Chicago Bear fans know, they are in trouble. He has to remain healthy.
3rd and 10. Payton. Nice tackle in the open field by Rufus Bess. A perfectly timed flying block that stops Payton short of the first down. And so the Bears will have to punt. Well, they got 2 bad passes from McMahon and then did the job defensively. Bringing up 4th down. Rufus Bess making the defensive play. Darren Nelson backing up to about the 12-yard line of Minnesota. Finzer has the wind with him from the 32 of Chicago. High punt by Finzer. And the ball will go into the end zone. There's going to be a penalty on Darren Nelson for throwing a block on Dave Dewerson, I believe. Might have been Carl Lee. Let's see what the call is going to be here. The ball bounced behind Nelson, went in for a touchback, and one of those Vikings made contact with the Bears trying to keep the ball out of the end zone.
He called for a fair catch, I believe, and I think when you call for a fair catch, you
Did
can't
you see
block
the
until the ball hits.
I didn't see him make that signal, but it's a 53-yard punt at this point. Let's see what the officials decide this penalty will be.
Okay, let's hope the microphones work.
Unsportsmanlike, blocking after a fair catch signal. Number 26 of the receiving team, first down.
I think he may have got the wrong number. We think
but he had the right call.
Yes, he did. I didn't see
the right call.
There's
was
the fair
correct.
catch
There's
signal.
the fair catch signal.
Yeah, that's Nelson, right jar.
Now, he can't block until the ball hits.
Yeah,
and I think the ball was still in the air.
Nelson made the block, and that's what I saw, but I hadn't seen his fair catch signal. So it is first down from the 5-yard line. Ted Brown gets a couple. Brown, I think, has carried the ball only a couple of times today. The Vikings got behind early, and they've been trying to throw the ball. Manning 13 of 22 in the passing department. Wilson and Singletary combined to stop Ted Brown after a gain of only a yard.
We have a case of the Bear defense having more and more success as the game has gone on, and they are just sky high now. It's all, I mean, it's just almost impossible for the Vikings to move the ball the way the Bears are playing. They're just storming over them.
Out of the end zone, Manning complete. Joe Sensor made a fine catch with Singletary and Harris double covering him there. That was quite a pluck out of the air by Joe Sensor, his 3rd catch of the afternoon, coming off knee injury.
And it was a good catch under the circumstances because there was a tight coverage on him, and the Manning hit the pass very well, and Sensor's caught his 3rd pass. You see the tight coverage on him, and then he's up there. He's got that bad knee, and he's still pumping, and that's when you're worried that he might re-injure it.
Tyrone Keys and Jim Osborne came in defensively for this series. Keys, 98, been bothered with a back injury, and Osborne, the backup to Stephen Michael. 3rd and less than a yard. An aroused Bears crowd Ted Brown is stopped. The crowd is into this defensive display by the Bears, their #1 NFL defensive team, and with the Vikings backed up deep in their own end, the crowd is really behind the Bears defensive unit. They want to see a shutout.
I think he may have gotten the first down according to the spot. It looks like he has it. You might wonder why, or if Les Steckel is thinking about bringing in Wade Wilson to see what he could do. I think it's not a real good situation to bring a quarterback who hasn't played too much in against when the Bears are coming up with all their different defenses and are sky high. I would think that if Les goes to Wade Wilson in the near future, he'd like to have him start a game somewhere where he starts out fresh, not playing against this Bear defense that is unbelievable today.
First down from the 16. McMahon for Jordan, incomplete. Al Harris tipped the ball away. The tight end covered by the linebacker, but the linebacker played him like a defensive back. Well, when all of the football action is over, and don't forget you've got most of you the Rams and 49ers next, then you will have this lineup of entertainment on CBS tonight. 60 Minutes with Diane Sawyer aboard now, and then Murder, She Wrote, The Jeffersons, Alice and Trapper John M.D. Another nice evening of CBS entertainment on Sunday night. We have 3:26 to go, regulation time. 2nd and 10. The Vikings, Archie Manning, under duress all day, and he's under it again. It is Dent and Otis Wilson. Dent had a hand on him. Wilson finished him off, and Archie Manning has got to be wondering why he's playing professional quarterback. There must be a nicer way to spend a Sunday afternoon.
Well, he makes a lot of money, but he's sure earning it today. Archie Manning is shaken up as the Bears went into their 46 defense again, and they bring those people, 90 and 55 and Dent. All those people come a-rushing, and the Vikings have not figured out how to block it, how to attack it, as Manning looked like he may really be shaken up.
Yeah,
boy, it's been a tough day for Archie.
Got a shot in the face, it appears, and not deliberate, I am quite sure. But you hate to see this great competitor hurt. He is a fine man. Archie Manning. We'll be back. Assisted off the field and is apparently all right, and we are really grateful for that. Looks like he's got a bruise or a scrape under his left eye.
Okay, Richard Dent, 95, will get in on it, but the key was from the other side of the field. He was forced out. Dent gets a hold of him, and here comes Otis Wilson with a real hit, and this drives him right into the turf. Boy, that's a jolt.
Looked like he got a shoulder right up under his face guard from Wilson, and clearly on that replay it was not intentional. And it looks like Archie's all right, but Wade Wilson has come in. A well-deserved break for Archie Manning from this action. In the end zone, Wilson on first down, airs it out downfield, and on the third down, pardon me, on his first down, intended for Leo Lewis, and that's incomplete. So the Vikings will have to punt the football as Wilson on his first pass coming into the game threw it long downfield, intended for Lewis. Coleman will have to punt from the end zone. Archie Manning, who came over last year in the deal from Houston, had a thyroid condition, never really got to play in any significant way last year. It is 14th season at age 35. A rough afternoon. That putt hangs up in the wind. It bounces off Jeff Fisher, recovered by the Vikings, and that is number 88, Don Hasselbeck, the tight end, coming up with a football. Ball looked like it bounced right off Fisher's shoulder pad. It kind of hung up in the wind, and the Bears would have had great field position there, but a sharp play by Hasselbeck.
It seemed to come and hit him high. It hit him off the mask on his shoulder pad there and just ricocheted down, and of course the ball is spotted back there because that was not what you call, that was more of a muff than a fumble. So the Vikings get it at the spot of recovery and have a chance to get on the scoreboard. The record for sacks is 12, held by the 66 Pittsburgh Steelers and the 1980 Baltimore Colts. 12 sacks. The Bears have 10 so far? 11.
2:49 to play. Wade Wilson may be in on a dubious record if they get to him. Boy, he chucks it downfield again. It's caught. Leo Lewis They went right back on that same deep sideline to Leo Lewis. This time Wilson on the mark, and a nice catch by little Leo Lewis. First down, Minnesota.
Isn't that something? Wade Wilson comes in, and look at the blocking holdup. Nobody around. He throws the ball. Leo Lewis, a little 180-pounder, makes a nice grab as he outmuscles Mike Richardson for the catch. Good play by Lewis, and the Vikings are down to the 33.5-yard line.
Oh, that's a dandy play. Wilson to Leo Lewis, and your point about the protection. Certainly valid and important there. First down, Vikings.
Here they come.
Right up for the blitz. The pass complete to Jordan. Now here's a guy that comes off the bench stone cold, didn't get to warm up at all. Missed the first one long and hits the next two right on the money.
And that time the Bears blitzed right up the middle. The Vikings picked it up like they knew what they were doing, which it seems like why couldn't they have done that all along in this football game? They had Fensick right up in the middle, 45. They tried to confuse the Viking offensive line, and Minnesota held the ground, zone blocked it, and just held them off.
A pickup of 7, 2nd and 3 at the Bears' 26-yard line. For the Bears defense, with the team in control of the score, they're trying to keep a shutout. Wade Wilson wants a score. Wilson drills it into the end zone, knocked away by Fensick, intended for Leo Lewis. He threw that one on a rope. Strong-arm quarterback Wade Wilson, the 4-year man from East Texas State.
And the key is 45. Watch Gary Fensick on the double coverage. He's got the inside coverage, and he just floats over and knocks it down, even though Richardson had the coverage pretty well on Lewis.
6'3", 215-pound Wade Wilson, third-string quarterback behind Kramer and Manning. They let Steve Dills go earlier in the season on a deal. Sean Gale has come in defensively for the Bears. Third down and 3 for the Vikings. Wilson protection and the pass incomplete. The tight end Jordan could not squeeze it as he was hit by Bell, 25, just as the ball arrived. Tough break for Wilson. He had the ball there.
It would have been a first down. So they're down to a 4th down situation. They'll obviously go for it as Wilson looks to the sidelines, then looks at his plays on his wrist there because he hasn't played all that much. He's got to check the old short list there. And he says,
down.
Come on, guys. See, there is the play. See on his wrist.
Slot formation to the left. Jones in motion. Up the middle, it is complete to Mike Jones, number 89.
He's got the first down.
Boy, he's right at the marker, and he hung on despite a tough hit on him. It was Terry Schmidt, number 44, extra defensive back in there, who made the tackle, but he held on for the first down. They go to the hurry-up with 2:03, counting down to the 2-minute warning. And they will not get the play off. And so we have 2 minutes remaining regulation time with the Vikings on the move. Wade Wilson at quarterback will return with the Bears in front.
Giving that extra effort makes winners. Be All You Can Be, sponsored by the U.S. Army. Number 46 of the Los Angeles Raiders is versatile tight end Todd Christensen. After being cut by 2 other NFL teams, Christensen came through with a Cinderella season in 1983, leading the league with 92 pass receptions. Whether he is creating holes for the likes of Marcus Allen or snaring Jim Plunkett passes, Todd Christensen is always the best he can be.
In today's Army, when artillery goes to the field, so does high technology.
Be all that you can be. Keep on reaching. Keep on growing.
Computers, laser-guided missiles, and teamwork honed to a split-second response. Only the Army gives you this kind of training with just a 2-year enlistment.
You can do it in the Army.
Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris, and we are looking at Walter Payton on the sidelines with our cameras, and he has slipped below the 1,000-yard mark. You may recall he had a loss on his last carry, and he's down to 997. So while he had crossed that barrier, he's now got to do it again. Meanwhile, the Vikings are at the 22-yard line. with 2 minutes to play. Archie Manning left the game under the battering of the Bears defense with pretty good numbers. 14 of 24, 138 yards and 1 interception, but he was sacked 11 times. And it's Wade Wilson at quarterback. Vikings trying to get into the end zone.
Here they come.
First down. Wilson deep for Lewis. What a catch! Leo Lewis with a diving catch in the end zone.
That's one of the better catches you'll see in the NFL. That time he had to leap out there, catch the ball, get his body back in control, and tuck the ball away before he hit the turf, which would knock it away. And Wade Wilson had plenty of time to throw it, as the Vikings really coming through with their offensive line blocking now, as Lewis got behind Todd Bell, hung onto the ball. Many times when you're stretched out like that, you will lose the ball when you hit the ground. Not Leo Lewis.
The 4-year man from Missouri came as a free agent in 1981 out of the Canadian Football League, where his father had played with former Vikings coach Bud Grant. Stenerud with a point after. And finally, the Minnesota Vikings on Wade Wilson's first drive that started deep in Viking territory are on the scoreboard with probably not enough time to make any real difference. 1:54 to play. 16-7 the score, but Wade Wilson has got to feel good about his debut.
And the last time he really played, as we watch him there, he says touchdown, touchdown. He wanted to help the officials. He's excited, and he played at the end of the season last year in a victory for the Vikings, and now I'm sure Les Steckel has got to be going through his mind as to who's going to be the starting quarterback next week, Archie Manning or Wade Wilson, who has responded very well under the circumstances.
So the Vikings will kick it off, and an onside kick would not be a surprise here. With 1:54 on the clock, Wilson 3 of 7 passing, 71 yards, and a touchdown on a spectacular catch by Leo Lewis. Well, something for the Vikings fans to cheer for after 58 minutes of play.
The Bears have 12 men on the field. Here comes one off. Gary Fency gets off as we're going to get the onside kick.
Here's an interesting lineup here by the Vikings. Look at this. And it is taken by Brian Baschnagel, number 84. The ball came right to him. He made no mistake. And Chicago will have the football in Viking territory at the 47-yard line. 1:52 on the clock. So the veteran Baschnagel did his job.
All he wanted, it took a nice little hop for him. It went up, and then Baschnagel just cradled that ball and headed for the turf and said, I'll take a 1-yard kickoff return. He
Vikings
wanted the Bears.
used Coleman, the punter, on that onside kick, not Stenerud.
Well, the Vikings have some timeouts. The Bears, if they can get 1 first down, it would be their game.
Well, I don't know whether Peyton knows where he's at in the numbers department or whether anybody on the Bears does, but if he gets 3 yards, he'll get back to the 1,000, and he just did. Looks like he got 4. So that'll put Peyton back up over the 1,000-yard mark for the season.
That seemed like a little inconsequential play. Looked like he had a yard or two. He wound up with almost a 5-yard gain out of that. Unbelievable.
Not an unusual circumstance for him. So strong. Every team that you talk to about Peyton, you know, they're awed by him like all of the fans are. They just can't believe all of the things he can do, how strong he is for his size, his attitude and spirit, the same play in, play out, game in, game out. And he's back to 1,001.
And he hasn't missed a game since his rookie year. That's about 9 years. As you look at Eric Dickerson, 911 yards. He's in 2nd place.
Well, Dickerson, of course, will be leading the Rams in their effort to close the gap on the 49ers coming next. The first place 49ers at 7-1, Dickerson and company at 5-3. And almost everybody watching will be seeing that game except those in the Chicago area.
The Vikings shouldn't worry about the pass now. They should get up there and bring those linebackers and try and fill all the gaps.
Stephen Humphreys, the rookie guard for the Bears, is in for Rob Feda. Feda replaced Mark Bortz today, who was out with an ankle injury. And a little motion look by the Bear offensive left side. And it might have been Stephen Humphreys, an eager rookie from Michigan, their number 3 choice, who was a little too eager on that play. On 2nd and 5, it'll back it up, so it'll be 2nd and 10. And some of the faithful have left with the feeling that the Bears have the game in hand at 16-7. They led 16-0 under the 2-minute mark with an awesome defensive play today, a display of defensive play. The #1 team in the NFL in that department. McMahon on 2nd and 10. Peyton stopped right at the line of scrimmage, and the rookie Haynes, the new man on the Vikings roster, number 90, was there, and Doug Martin, the veteran, 5-year man from Washington, number 79, has been playing hurt all day with an ankle still bothering him.
Another timeout called by the Vikings. I believe they have one left, don't they? One left. So they have a chance to get that ball back. The Bears are in a 3rd down situation. Will Mike Ditka, with his imagination on offense, will he call a pass play?
3rd and 11, we'll see upcoming. And we want to remind you the next Sunday, these Vikings will be at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I have a feeling you might see Wade Wilson get a shot there next week. Kramer will not be ready to come back, we are told. And you Vikings fans be watching that game. And others of you will see, including those in the Illinois area, the Rams and the Cardinals. And again, we've been talking a lot about the upcoming Rams 49er game. The Cardinals, at last report, winning their game today. That makes that one another biggie next week. Bears will be at home next week against the LA Raiders, Super Bowl champs. McMahon going deep. He's got a man open, and it's complete. Dennis McKinnon at the 1-yard line. Did I hear Johnny Morris predict that play just a moment ago? Rufus Bess had the coverage, and they're ruling it incomplete. Ruling it incomplete, so evidently the ball hit the ground on McKinnon's dive for it. There's Mike Ditka right out on the field. He doesn't like that call. Of course, his view, to say the least, was not optimum.
Well, I couldn't tell
60
either.
yards from it.
We'll take a look at the replay, and everybody at home will find out if he did catch the ball or whether it hit the turf.
McKinnon didn't argue a whole lot.
No, he didn't.
He hasn't got possession there. That's a good call. He didn't really have the ball in his hands, and when he hit the ground, it squirted out. So the officials were on top of that one. Superior pass, nonetheless, from McMahon to McKinnon. Right on the money.
Ditka is really upset with the officials.
Hey, Mike, the score is 16-7 for Chicago. 1:18 remaining.
Well, he feels it was a complete pass, I think. It was a tough call. I'm not so sure.
You're not agreeing with me, huh?
Well, he had it cradled within his body. Now, did the ball hit the turf as he rolled over?
Yeah, it did, but I don't think, he didn't really have, as I saw it on the replay, did not have full possession of the ball at any point. Didn't look like he really had the ball in control.
But when did it hit the ground?
When he hit the ground.
Okay, Coach.
4th down. We put 5 seconds back on the clock here, up to 1:23. And it'll be Finzer with the punt. Angling for the corner. Dewerson after it. It's going to go out of bounds at the 19-yard line as Nelson was just letting it bounce into a hope that it may go in all the way for a touchback. Well, let's I'm going to give you the full shot here, Johnny, and I want your analysis.
Well, let's see. I don't know the answer, but we're going to see if we can get a better look. Now, he's got the ball.
I don't think
he goes down. I didn't ever see the ball hit the turf. He did juggle it, but when he juggled it, it was up on the top of his body.
His knees right there.
But it still doesn't hit the turf, does it? I don't know. It's hard to say.
Hard to say.
They're closer than we are.
The officials didn't find it that hard, and they said it's incomplete. 1st down at the 24-yard line. Wade Wilson, number 11. That's complete. Leo Lewis again. Took a shot from Mike Richardson as he caught the ball, but held on for a 1st down to the 35. Now, you're an old wide receiver, Johnny. You know, when Wade Wilson is a 3rd-string quarterback, is he likely to throw to certain receivers more often in practice than others? And would that affect why he's going to Lewis so much here? answer that after this play. There is Steve Jordan, and makes the catch, hit immediately. I'm just wondering if, you know, they may not get to throw to the starters, Jones and White in this case, as often in practice as, say, Kramer would, and that he might spend more time passing to Leo Lewis. Is that likely to happen?
No, I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so much, no.
And he's been his favorite target so far here, and I guess it's just had to do with their plans for Wilson. Flag down upfield in the secondary area.
It's against Chicago.
They had about an 8-yard gain on the completion to Jordan.
You know, Wade's statistics have got to be pretty good.
Delay of game, 12 men on the defense.
Well, no wonder they're #1 in the NFL. They use 12 guys. Well, there's the secret to the Buddy Ryan defense. 12 players.
That's the most embarrassing penalty you can get. Right now they have 11.
2nd and 3.
That wasn't a player, that was Buddy
left.
Ryan out on the field.
Kansas City has gone in front of Tampa Bay, 21-13. Buccaneers in difficulty. That's intended for Ted Brown, incomplete, and the Bears finally got some pressure on Wilson. The first time they really had some heat on him, and it was led by Richard Dent. He's had himself an outstanding afternoon.
I believe the Vikings still have one more timeout. After that 3rd down play, they didn't call a timeout because of the incompletion of the pass. It's like he might have strained his shoulder a little bit. Wade Wilson looks good, though.
They do have one timeout left, 39 seconds left. That last graphic of information, very significant in terms of the Bears' race in the NFC Central. That's intended at the right sideline for Leo Lewis again, and broken up by rookie Sean Gale, number 23. And had tight coverage on Lewis down the sideline.
Well, Wade Wilson is going to the right guys in this situation because the Bears were still playing a basic up tight with their cornerbacks, with fencing down deep to help out on the coverage, but most teams would be dropping everybody way off and give you the short pass in front. So Vikings are attacking the way the Bears are playing the correct way.
Les Steckel has taken his headset off completely.
See how tight they are?
33 seconds left. Wilson rolls away from the pressure. Can't find an open man. Unloads the ball. Intercepted. Bell. Todd Bell to the 48-yard line will finish up this football game. Now the Vikings, showing some feistiness even at the end, come off the sideline here, objecting to some of the activity. And we have 19 seconds left as Bell effectively ends the game for the Chicago Bears, who will chalk up their 6th victory against 3 defeats. Tampa Bay losing to Kansas City, the game not over, but they are behind. If they should lose, would fall to 3-6. Minnesota falls to 2-7. And these are the gentlemen here who make our telecast possible. Executive producer Terry O'Neill. Senior producer Charles H. Milton III. Our producer at the site, David Winter. And our director, Peter Bleckner. Associate producer today, Ernie Bauer. And our field technical manager, Bill Nader. And our entire technical crew, another outstanding job today. And we thank them for their usual fine assistance. Matt Suhey goes for a couple, as that should be the final play of the game. 13 seconds and counting. So the Chicago Bears strengthen their lead atop the Central Division of the NFC with their 6th win of the season. Their final score will have the Bears 16-7 over the Minnesota Vikings. For Johnny Morris, this is Tim Bryant saying so long from Soldier Field with a final score: the Bears 16, the Vikings 7. Coming up next,